Live yesterday at Riverside Cemetery. I was thinking about going live again at the cemetery today. However, it's supposed to storm. Of course, now that I go live, I'm looking out my window here. It's not overcast or anything, but it's supposed to be starting to rain. And there's a tornado watch, so it's a bit windy. So it's probably a good thing that I decided to. Oh, that was a car. But it's probably a good thing I decided to do this, go live inside just in case. Hold on here. I got to pull this up. Hopefully, we'll have some people on today. Uh, Yesterday was kind of a last minute thing. It was no, weather cooperated, so I'm going to do this type of thing. Hold on here, guys. Got to get situated. Just in case people chime in to talk. Okay. So, anyway, at the beginning of my stream yesterday, I talked about trust. And talked about how I banned somebody because I don't trust them. And I don't want to leave my followers and subscribers astray. I don't want to subject them to people that I don't trust that I think are kooks. And after I got thinking about it a little bit today, I was like, you know what? I talked about trust yesterday, and well, some of you, most of you, don't really know anything about me. So, how can I talk about trust and trusting me if you really don't know my background or anything? So, today is mostly going to be about my background, other related topics, as well as paranormal stuff, especially if we have people chime in. Oh, today I had a couple people ask, about my shirt. Today I am wearing Music Saved My Life shirt because music saves lives. And I'm also wearing my Duisburg Zebras hat again today. Go Zebras. My family's from Duisburg, and the Duisburg Zebras are our soccer team, or football team, wherever you are in this world. So, I'm going to get started a little bit about my background. I'm trying to build trust with everybody. Well, hello! It's okay to be gay. I'm not gay, so. But yes, it is okay to be gay, but I'm not gay. Anyway, my background a little bit is I was born and raised here in Illinois in the Quad Cities. We're a farming agriculture community. Hey, what's up, nasty gamer? I was born to a blue collar father and an immigrant mother. My mother was born and raised in Duisburg, Germany. Got a joke, want to hear it? I'm afraid of what that joke is, but if you want to tell a joke, go right ahead. As long as it's not nasty, since you're a nasty gamer. Anyway, my mother is a German immigrant. She immigrated. How much does a chimney cost? How much does a chimney cost? Nothing. It's on the house. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Is that a dad joke? I like dad jokes. Anyway, uh, where was I at? Oh, my mother was a German immigrant, is a German immigrant. She immigrated here in the early 80s. When my father got out of the Air Force, they met each other when he was stationed at Norvenich Air Force Base in Germany. And outside of my mutti, mutti is slang for mother, I only have an aunt and a couple of cousins here from my mother's side. Did you see the movie Conception? No, I haven't. It never came out. Okay. Anyway, my father's family, my grandmother was from Iowa City. My grandfather was from northern Georgia. My grandmother grew up with an alcoholic father and a mother who didn't care about her. Um, my mother Like I said, I was born and raised in Duisburg. My opa was also an alcoholic who served in World War II. He was in the Hitler Youth and was basically drafted in to the Wehrmacht at the end of the war because, they were like, oh, well, you're old enough to fight. You're going to go fight on the Eastern Front. He was a Russian. He was captured at towards the end of the war and was in a Russian prison camp and later in an American prison camp. My Oma, uh, who was blonde hair, blue eyes, served as a nurse during World War II. My great grandmother actually put her in a convent during the war to get her away from the Lebensborn program, which saved her life actually because Duisburg during World War II was one of the most heavily bombed, especially firebombed by the British during the war. And over 100,000 German citizens were killed in Duisburg due to these bombings. And, her being put in a convent saved her life, basically. And she served as a nurse to both German and American soldiers towards the end of the war. And so on and so on. My Oma never really talked about the war much. What she told me and others was that she felt betrayed and lied to, obviously. One of the things she talked about was till the day she died, actually, she could still hear bombs being dropped in her dreams because she was, so used to hearing bombs overhead because of the air war. A little bit more about my father's side. Do you think what the Germans did in World Do I think what the Germans did in World War II was bad? Of course I do. Anyway, on my dad's side again, my grandfather grew up in northern Georgia during the Depression, grew up in a cardboard shack. His family were moonshiners. He was basically a bastard. However, he was born to a mountain man and a drifting mother. And when he was dropped off at my great grandfather's doorstep, he was mistreated by his stepmother, and so on and so on. So that's a little bit of my background. Um, Me personally, I'm 40. I have a 21-year-old son, and I work hard just as much as everybody else. I currently work at a hotel, and so on, and so on, and so on. My father died during COVID. The nursing home killed him, actually. He didn't die of COVID. He actually had a heart attack during COVID. They put him in a hospital. He stroked in the hospital, and he was starting to recover, and they put him in a nursing home to further recover. And since it was during COVID, they're like, we have to give you a flu shot. And my dad said, don't give me a flu shot. I react bad to them. But they gave him a flu shot anyway, which caused him to have another heart attack and stroke a couple of different times to then he passed away. So that sucked, obviously. I didn't get to see him towards the end of his life because it was during COVID, so I didn't get to go in the hospital and see him. But my Muti lives in Ohio. Uh, I have a little sister. She's actually pregnant. I'm going to be an uncle. And I'm actually going to be moving to Ohio next weekend, by the way. I'm going to be moving out uh, close to my mother. Uh, my time here in Illinois is finished, and it's time for me to move on to bigger and better things. So I might be taking a week or so off to get moved out there, and then I'll be back with my spirit box sessions and everything. I've actually got like 3 or 4 spirit box sessions recorded. I just haven't posted them yet. I post them every Thursday. I did my go live yesterday at what's a spirit box? A spirit box is basically a radio where it scans through radio frequencies to pick up on like white noise. It generates white noise for spirits to be able to communicate. You know, you see people like Nick Groff on his show Death Walker. He uses spirit boxes quite a bit. He actually uses all kinds of different spirit boxes. Here, I can show you mine. This is my spirit box. This is a Sam and Colby spirit box. It's kind of like a 3-in-1. It has temperature on it. It can detect EVPs, and obviously it scans radio frequencies. So I've got it set on 150 scan rate. Now this goes up to, I think it goes up to like 400 or 500, 350. So I've been testing different scan rates just to see what which scan rate works best. Right now, I think 100 to 150 sweep rate is fairly decent. Again, I'm testing out the different frequencies and everything, that scan rates, to see what works the best. So that, like I said, I bought this on Amazon for, I can't remember. It was maybe like $50. It's also got here, I can show you again. It's got earphones where you can do an Estes method. It's got temperature reset, and it's got a speaker port. I eventually want to get a speaker for it. Wait, so white noise is communication frequency for supernatural beings? It can be. It can be. If you talk to a lot of people, if you talk to a lot of people, a lot of times people talk about how, my deceased loved one or friend, turned on the radio or turned off the radio, and so on and so on. It all kind of wraps up into that, and I'm not quite sure how it works, to be honest with you, but spirits are attracted to white noise. It garners energy and everything to help communicate. I don't talk to a lot of people. What have you experienced? Oh, what have I experienced? Oh boy, you can go back and watch all my vlog videos where I talk about my experiences. I'm an empath, a clairvoyant, and a medium. I've had paranormal experiences since I was a toddler. I first started talking about my paranormal experiences at the age of 4 or 5. I mostly started talking about my past lives as a child. And which one do I start with? I can start with my very first experience. I was probably 6 that I can remember the first time I saw a spirit. I was at my great-grandmother's funeral. This was in the early 90s. And I was walking out to our family car at the time to check on my brother. My brother was sick. And I had an old lady appear in front of me, stern look on her face, kind of like, what are you doing? Should you be here? So on and so on. What's crazy is I can remember it like it was yesterday. It scared the crap out of me. I mean, I screamed, and my sister that I was with at the time just kind of looked at me like, what the hell just happened? But she had white hair, pearls. She was skinny. She looked like she was probably in her 80s. Let's see, what else? One of my favorite experiences was when I was in Germany a few years back. It made a huge impact on my life. I felt a soldier come up on me. He was injured during the Battle of the Herkenwald, and I felt his wound in his abdomen. Lord have mercy. What else here can I say? God, I've got 34 years of experiences. Like I said, I've made like 10 vlog videos. I don't talk. Um, my Savannah experience was one of my most negative experiences. I was walking through the historic squares in Savannah, Georgia. I was married to my first wife at the time, and I felt something, a negative entity, run up to me, and I was like, what the hell is that? And this negative entity basically just wanted to attack me for no reason, and I felt, I want to stab you. And I felt him stabbing me in the gut. And it hurt me so bad that I doubled over in pain. I staggered to my car, passed out, woke back up a couple hours later, and still felt the entity's presence there, though it was less, but I still felt that stabbing pain in my gut and everything, and he had basically marked me to come back and attack me again. That negative experience made me shy away from ghost hunting, my clairvoyance, and the paranormal in general. I stopped talking to people about my clairvoyance. I stopped giving psychic readings. One of my other more negative experiences was I had an entity try to possess me. What did it feel like? It felt like a rush of negative energy had run up on me, and I felt the energy, the entity's energy. It was a white man, basically like a thug, like a robber, a thief. And then it got really heavy, and the energy around me got really heavy and thick. It felt like I was walking through water mostly, and it almost felt kind of like a panic attack, but it wasn't a panic attack. Sound wise, I didn't hear any sound. I just felt a rush of negative energy come up to me and just attack me for no reason. A deeper kind of feeling outside of extreme negativity, that was about it. It was just about extreme negative energy. Dude, I've never felt external energy, but I like to play with magnets. Is it similar to that? Oh boy, I wouldn't say it's like that. The best that I can describe it is when I get a heaviness. A lot of times with my paranormal experiences, I feel like deep, deep heaviness. One in the Herkenwald, I felt a huge heaviness. This one in Savannah, Georgia, I felt a huge heaviness. The best that I can describe it is if you're in a swimming pool and you try to run in a swimming pool, but you can't because there's so much resistance and it's really heavy. That's probably the best way to describe it. Now, when I was in Gettysburg, I've had 3 or 4 different experiences in Gettysburg. I heard somebody's guttural death throes in Pickett's Charge Field. I didn't feel a heaviness there. I saw a lot of residual energy in Gettysburg too. That was actually kind of cool. So the heaviness is felt physically, not emotionally or mentally. No, no, it's I've never felt it. Being an empath, I feel emotions, but mentally, no, no. It like I said, it's just like heavy resistance. Like I said, like you're walking through water mostly. You know, you're trying to run through a swimming pool, and it's just that heaviness that surrounds you physically wise. Now, every empath and clairvoyance different. That's just how I experience it. Mentally, I've never really felt it mentally. Emotionally, being an empath, I feel people's emotions. I feel entities and spirits' emotions. Does time slow down or just the body through it? Boy, Sometimes my experiences happen so quickly, but it does feel like it lasts an eternity. My experience in Savannah lasted maybe about 5 minutes, maybe, but it felt like a lifetime. Body wise, boy, you get really fatigued, or I get really fatigued, especially after giving like a psychic reading. There's so much energy that builds up because, entities in our bodies both are energy. Everything has energy, to trees, to this bed I'm sitting on, to TVs, to everything. And energy builds up so much, it just kind of takes a lot out of you, especially being an empath. Now, whenever I'm around people at work, especially if somebody's upset, I can feel them. I can feel their pain. I can feel how sad they are. That's why I can read people so well. I have people coming up. I'm a front desk agent at a hotel currently. If somebody comes up, I can read them instantly just by their energy. Just by their energy, I can tell if they're having a bad day. I can tell if they're having a good day. I can tell if they're more stoic or if they're more happy-go-lucky. I feel like an empath in that I can emphasize, but what does being an empath mean to you? That being an empath and empathizing is, hand in hand. And an empath to me is just being able to feel the energies, positive and negative energies around me, being able to pick up on people's emotions, especially. There's been times where I've been around people that have been extremely sad, and I've been in a happy go lucky mood, but then I pick up on their sadness and it literally makes me cry. Or I can start to tear up. That's why some of these experiences that I've vlogged about, that you can go back and watch, especially the Gettysburg experiences and the Herkenwald experiences, where I talk about, how I feel, you know, soldiers' pains. I feel soldiers' pains, especially the ones that have passed away. And I get emotional because of it. I get emotional. I'm just that extremely sensitive. How much of that is intuition instead of empathy? I don't trust my intuition. Um, I mean, we all have natural intuition. We all have natural intuition, but I mean, some of these experiences that I have, that I feel people's negative and positive, both energies and feelings and everything, is that's just how empaths are. They just feel all kinds of energies around them. Now, I can go to a cemetery, especially. I'm more comfortable in cemeteries because of the energies in cemeteries. A lot of it's peaceful. But I can go to cemeteries and feel all kinds of mixtures of different people's personalities and energies. One of my other favorite experiences was at Scotts Bluff, Nebraska. It was a stop on the Oregon Trail. And as soon as I got out of the car, I felt all kinds of different energies. Scotts Bluff, Nebraska, the part of the Oregon Trail, there's so many different mixtures of energies and people's feelings and everything. It's kind of like a paranormal hub, in my opinion. That's why I would love to go back to a place like Scotts Bluff again and do more paranormal investigating, just because of the different mixtures of energies that are there. Now, I mean, you can call that intuition. Some people call it intuition. Again, I know it because I feel it. It's something that you kind of have to experience yourself to understand it a little better. You should always trust your intuition. Anytime you get a gut feeling, you need to trust your gut. That is something that I have been learning to do more and more. There's been times where I've gone to places on a ghost hunt, or just to visit. Like the stone house in Virginia was part of the Second Manassas battlefield. I picked up on three children in this house, and I was like, "Well, that can't be because this was part of the battle, you know." And I later picked up a more paternal entity, but I went back and talked to one of the tour guides at the battlefield park, and they're like, "Oh no, there was three kids. And we've had other psychics and empaths come in here and say, "Oh yeah, there's three kids in that house too." And I was like, "Well, man, I should have just trusted my gut and tried to contact and talk to them more." So trust your intuition. If you've got a gut feeling on something, you stick by it. Again, it's something that I'm still learning more and more to do. And over the last couple of years, I've really learned how to trust my instinct more and more and my intuition. Do you feel positive or negative towards me? I honestly, I don't feel much towards you because I don't feel your energy. Now, in the past, when I've given psychic readings, when I give psychic readings, they have to be in person. I hate doing phone readings with people. I've tried doing phone readings with people, and it's just I don't pick up much because I pick up on what your energy is. Because typically, if you have a loved one that's attached to you that wants to communicate with you, or is there to just visit you, I can pick up on their energies that are attached to you. That's why when I give psychic readings, they have to be in person. They have to be in person because I can read your energy and feel your energy and what you feel, and whatever entity or spirit's attached to you. I know my intent, but you shouldn't be able to unless you have an accurate feeling, I suppose, or is the energy local in the physical value? I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there. I know my intent, but you shouldn't be able to unless you have an accurate feeling, I suppose, or is the energy local in the physical volume? I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there. Um, yeah, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there. Can you specify a little more for me? Um, Local and the physical value. You're gonna have to elaborate more on that one for me to help explain it to you a little bit. I know when I've given psychic readings in the past, there's been times where I've been so incredibly accurate. It's felt incredibly invasive. That in itself has freaked me out. That's honestly another reason why I've kind of shied away and not given psychic readings as well. It's because it's invasive almost. And knowing stuff that I shouldn't know and everything just scares the hell out of me sometimes. Always trust your intuition. Always trust your intuition. That's why I say everybody's some kind of psychic. You can call it intuition or some kind of psychic, or whatnot, but we all have a little bit of sensitivity to us to the afterlife and things. Um, don't trust my intuition. Yeah, you should always trust your intuition. Always trust your intuition. Or is the energy local in the physical volume? I'm still trying to wrap my head around that one. Still trying to wrap my head around that one. I meant, do people need to be present, or if the energy is a vibe you can pick up through what is being said? Thanks for answering my questions. I love to emphasize, but I can't easily with me. Oh, okay. I know some people, and again, this is something that I need to work on better as a clairvoyant, and an empath. Some people can do like remote viewing and stuff like that and pick up on people's energies that way. I've never been able to do that. Maybe that's something I'm able to, but I haven't worked on honing my skill enough to be able to do that. No, personally, through my experiences that I've been through, you have to be present with me to give a good, accurate reading. Hey, no problem. Keep asking questions as much as you want. That's why I'm here. That's why I go live. I go live to answer people's questions and whatnot, the best of my ability. I love to emphasize, but I usually, yeah. I believe that most people that have a lot of empathy, are just more sensitive people naturally, and that's why I think a lot of people with a lot of empathy, are more sensitive to in entities and spirits. And when I talk about entities and spirits, that's what I use to differentiate. Uh, so an entity is earthbound. An entity is something or a person that has not crossed over to that heaven plane. So when I say entity, I mean an earthbound person. When I say spirit, a spirit is somebody that's crossed over to the heaven side and is back on visiting to check on families, to check on loved ones, to check on friends, to visit places that they lived or liked here in the living world. So when I talk about spirits and entities, that's what I mean. When I say an entity, when an entity attacks me or when an entity is present, that means that spirit is earthbound. When I say just a regular spirit, that means that spirit's back in visitation, who has crossed over to that heaven plane. Now, entities that are earthbound can be crossed over into that heaven plane. They have to want to cross over. Some entities you just can't help because they don't want to be helped, or they don't realize they're dead, or they just don't want to cross over. I haven't experienced this, but I know I've read accounts where people have come across entities that think they don't deserve to cross over to the heaven side. Those entities are easier to help cross over. I personally believe in, you know, I don't believe in hell. I've never had anything come up from a fiery pit. I believe there's our earth plane, the earth living plane that you and I are on. Then I believe there's like a purgatory between heaven and earth. And then there's the heaven plane. The purgatory, if you want to call it, you can call it hell, you can call it whatever you want, but hell isn't a fiery pit. Hell isn't a fiery pit. If anything, it's just kind of like purgatory. Uh, Purgatory is, in my opinion, is just a vast wilderness, a space between heaven and earth that is just a vast wilderness where, to be very honest with you, entities that are earthbound can run amok. That's why a lot of entities won't pass over to the heaven plane, is because they can run through this purgatory and do whatever the hell they want. It's kind of scary if you think about it, but that's what I've experienced over the past 34, 35 years. Uh, some entities don't realize they're dead. You can help them realize they're dead. It just depends on the entity's energy, if it's negative or positive or whatnot. I've talked in past live streams where, some of these paranormal shows, some of them do a good job about, being respectful to entities and helping entities cross over to that heaven plane, but I don't think they do enough, to be very honest with you. And again, some of these shows are just for entertainment purposes, and that's fine. If they're just there for the entertainment, that's fine, but you should always be respectful on a ghost hunt, or be respectful if your house is haunted, or, excuse me, be respectful on just in general. I think a lot more paranormal investigators need to really focus more on helping entities cross over than just picking up evidence. And again, some paranormal groups do a really good job about it and are very respectful in that manner. Some of them, however, don't care because they're just in it for the entertainment value. And I mean, that's real life. That's the world. There's nothing that we can do to help that. It's not nothing that we can do to help that as long as they're respectful, in my opinion. It's not hurting anything. But we're really not doing entities any kind of favor by keeping them earthbound. We're not doing, in my opinion, we're not doing enough to help entities cross over. You know, that's something that I've really wanted to focus more and more on as I've gone through this paranormal path. Is, you know, I really want to in the future really help entities realize they're either dead or that they deserve to cross over, or they should just cross over. Um, do entities hide from most people, or do most people not have the sensitivity to detect them? That's actually a great question. That's actually an excellent question. It depends on the entity's personality. Now, if you're more of an introvert in the real world and you pass over and you're stuck earthbound, you're going to be probably more of an introvert as an entity. I would say most probably hide from people. Again, it just depends on how much energy strength they have, how much energy they can manifest, if they want to manifest, what their surroundings are. You know, if they're in a more populated area, they can really garner and suck people's energy just walking down the street to be able to manifest and do things. Um, most people, uh, I would say most people do not have the kind of sensitivity to detect entities, though I do think most of us have some kind of sensitivity to the other side. It's just how in tune you are. If people really sat down and tried to be more in tune with the afterlife and, you know, spirits and whatnot, and just tried to focus and open their minds more, they would probably see more paranormal activity happen around them, and so on and so on. Some people just aren't naturally sensitive enough to be able to get a full on experience. That's why a lot of people like to go on ghost hunts with me, because, you know, the paranormal happen around me, especially on ghost hunts. Um, I've been on dozens and dozens of ghost hunts, and I would say about 80% of the time I'm on a ghost hunt, paranormal activity happen. Now, there's been quite a bit of times where I've gone on ghost hunts and nothing have happened, but that's again why a lot of my friends are like, I'm going on a ghost hunt with you because I always see it happen around you, yada yada yada. Um, that's honestly one of the reasons why I never focused too hard on giving psychic readings, because I've always been more focused on going ghost hunting and getting and capturing paranormal evidence and getting that paranormal experience. Because to be very honest with you, having a paranormal experience can be extremely thrilling. It's an adrenaline rush, especially when something really crazy happens to you. Sometimes it makes you question your sanity. Sometimes it makes you question your sanity, but boy, it can be a thrill. It can be thrill. Um, that's why a lot of times people are like, I'm going on a ghost hunt with you just to get a paranormal experience. That's again why I've always mostly focused on ghost hunting and capturing paranormal evidence, was for that reason. My psychic readings, my psychic ability outside of that, you know, was just kind of an add-on bonus to me. I can be extremely accurate when I give psychic readings, but it's just kind of like an add-on bonus to me. If I wanted to make psychic readings a career, I could do so. I could do so if I wanted to, but I've always been more focused on capturing evidence to show people that the afterlife is real. And so people get that reassurance that the afterlife is real. You know, I can give them reassurance by, you know, sitting down and giving a psychic reading, but what's better than capturing a piece of evidence to be able to show everybody around the world that the afterlife is real? Now, one of my last spirit box sessions, the one that I posted last Thursday, was at Riverside Cemetery in Moline, and I had quite a bit of paranormal activity with that session. You can go back and rewatch that, and I actually made a few clips out of that paranormal activity. I caught an entity manifesting, and it manifested between two headstones, and then it started out about the size of probably like a mouse or a chipmunk, and then it darted past this monument, and then it turned into the size of about a rabbit or a squirrel, probably more about the size of a rabbit. You can go back and watch those clips. I made a clip that showed it happen in real time, and it happens really, really fast. So you really got to focus in on the monuments where it happens. And I slowed it down. I put it in a black and white filter, and you can really see it in the black and white filter the best, I think. And I zoomed in, and the best one that you can see where I zoom in is when it darts past the big butter monument. What's better than being able to show evidence like that? I don't fake my evidence. So what's better, what's a better proof of the afterlife and showing real life evidence like that? Hey, Gen X Gemini, how are you doing? Thanks for saying hey and chiming in. If you have any questions, please ask. I've been talking with JCS56 quite a bit here about my paranormal experience, and they've been asking quite a bit of questions. So if you have any questions, please ask away. If any of you online have had any paranormal experiences yourself, please share your paranormal experiences. One of the things I like is hearing other people's experiences and how they've handled them, and because the paranormal and spirits and entities do different things and react to us all differently. So thanks for chiming in and said hi and saying hi. But on my last spirit box session that I posted up at Riverside Cemetery, I had a really dark, creepy voice come out of the spirit box. I personally think it said "let's," but I've had other people say, "Oh no, it says your name," or "Oh no, it says this," and I'd love to know what more people think. My channel is mostly about the paranormal. Yes, I know I've got some gaming videos on there. I'm a gamer, but I've been trying to focus more and more on my paranormal and spirit box sessions and everything. I also am a big history nerd. The paranormal and history kind of go hand in hand together with me. And I like to travel, so you'll be seeing me talk more about travel. Most of my paranormal experiences have happened at historic sites. I haven't done a whole lot of investigating at people's houses outside of a couple. So I like to travel around to different historic spots and catch paranormal evidence. Now, I have done other things on YouTube, like reading out of published books that I plan on going back to doing, giving good historical commentary. I've also just filmed at different historical locations, but I've been mostly focused on my paranormal stuff and trying to stay focused on that for quite a while until I can get my monetization. I worry about adding too much to my YouTube channel because it hurts your algorithms. You can organize it and run a YouTube page with multiple topics, but I don't want to add too many topics because it could really screw up the algorithm. So I'll probably be making multiple YouTube pages in the future. But I've got to hit that monetization. So yeah, my YouTube page right now is mostly about the paranormal. You'll see me go live on gaming every once in a while. I haven't gone live on gaming in quite a while. It's been probably about 2 or 3 weeks now since I've done that because I've been so busy working on my paranormal content that I just haven't done so. I've been doing YouTube for over 4 years. Can't even get 400 subs. Oh, really? What do you do on YouTube? I mean, here, I guess I could probably pull up your. No, a lot of my. Hold on here. I'm gonna pull up your channel. Go to channel here. I started this channel 4 years ago in the hopes of being about survival, bushcrafting, and everything outdoors. Since that has failed, I'm just going to do random shit. If I... Oh well, that's cool. You're into survival stuff, bushcrafting. I like that sort of stuff. Um, a lot of my subscribers, I mean, I've got a fairly decent job. I've got a fairly decent job that pays fairly decently, at least from where I live. Um, I've been able to put money towards promoting my videos and getting subscribers that way. So if you've got a little bit of expendable income, I would say in order to get more subs, try promoting your best videos. Again, when you do a promotional video, you've got three different options, and I'm learning all of this. I'm learning all of this. When it comes to technology, I'm a dunce. When it comes to video editing, I'm getting better with a little bit of editing, but when it comes to technology, I'm seriously a dunce. That's why I need a tech person. But when you go and to promote your videos, you've got three different options. You've got video views, which help more with your watch hours. You've got audience growth, which I did the audience growth when I first started putting out my paranormal videos. That's how I've got over almost 1,100 subscribers. And then you've got website growth. I haven't used the website growth because I don't have a website yet. That's something I'm planning in the future. But since I've got almost 1,100 subscribers, most of the time when I promote my videos, I go for video views to help get my watch hours up because you have to have 4,000 watch hours to get monetization. I started out with bushcraft and survival, mostly comedy now. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, to get the best algorithms, you probably should stick to one or two things on your YouTube from what I've read because it helps your algorithms. A lot of people say just stick to one thing. That way it can just focus on one certain algorithm. I, I've got a good charismatic personality, so I'm trying to make my YouTube page me more than anything in my likes. Yes, live streams help watch hours quite a bit. That's why I was going live with gaming a lot, was because I was getting, 15, 20 plus watch hours just out of my gaming videos and my gaming go lives. That's why again I went live yesterday at the cemetery, and I'm live again today because you can build up a lot of watch hours. It's a grind, man. It's a grind. It's just one major grind and how good the quality of your videos. Again, my videos might not be the best quality because I'm a technology dunce, and I don't have the equipment. Equipment costs a lot of money. I'm going to be getting a camcorder here that'll help me make better quality videos. But bushcraft, what exactly is bushcraft? Now I know survival stuff because I think some of that survival stuff is cool. I mean, when people kind of get into that doomsday prepper shit, it get kind of weird on me. But some of that survival stuff is really cool. I just subbed. I'm interested in seeing what paranormal activity you have captured. Oh, thank you for the sub, Gen X. I really appreciate that. Now you can go on my page and look at my spirit box sessions. I just started doing spirit box sessions a couple of weeks ago, so I haven't built up a whole lot of videos there yet. I've probably got about 3 or 4 videos right now that I could post. I post them once a week. Like I said, the last spirit box session I made there was a lot of paranormal activity there. I've also got a playlist called Paranormal Activity Shorts. I've got probably about 4 shorts on there now that you can go back and look. A lot of EMF reader spikes, intelligent EMF reader spikes. Now, a couple of them I just put up there. I was like, holy shit, I can't believe I just got an intelligent spike out of that. Because when it happens, you're like, holy shit. But thank you for the sub. I really appreciate that. Go back and watch my videos. I need to make a whole bunch of timestamps on my paranormal vlog entries. I need to go back and make some timestamps. I'm going to be working on that over the next few days. That way people can go through my vlog videos and be like, oh, well, he's talking about this here and so on and so on. I just learned how to do timestamps, so. My wife doesn't like it when I tag along while she's going hunting. She says they're afraid of me. Oh, I invite anybody to go ghost hunting with me, to be honest with you. As long as you kind of follow my guideline to ghost hunting, you'll be fine. So that's kind of funny. And there are some people like that in this world where ghosts or in entities are like, boy, that guy's kind of creepy, or boy, that guy's annoying, and so on. But from what I've experienced, it doesn't really matter who's with me. they're going to have a paranormal experience eventually. Um, but that's a good one. That's a good one. um, the only time I've seen things is when I wasn't looking. That's how it usually happens. I've got a friend. He was the best man at my first wedding. He is notorious for being present with me when paranormal stuff's happening, but he always misses it. Like one time, one of my favorites with Kyle was uh, we were hanging out at his girlfriend's house at the time. That this was back when we were in high school, and he was making out, sucking face with his girlfriend at the time. And I looked over, and there's this door just opening and closing by itself. And I was like, Kyle, you missed it again. You missed it again, type of thing. So that happens quite a bit. Honestly, that happens quite a bit. Kyle's been present with me when a few different paranormal experiences have happened. Um, Seen things when I wasn't looking. Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. That's how it goes. How long has your wife been ghost hunting? Has she been ghost hunting quite a while? Does she take it fairly seriously? Does she have a page or so? Do you watch the Y Files? I've never heard of the Y Files. That's a new one for me. I don't think I've watched that. Is that on Amazon or YouTube or anything? Right now, when it comes down to watching paranormal shows, I've been watching Travel the Dead. Travel the Dead is a great show. You should go check out Katrina Weidman. Travel the Dead with Katrina Weidman and Heather Taddy. They do an excellent job. You know, when I get to go out and get more equipment and do more of my ghost hunting again, I kind of want to emulate what they're doing. Now, typically, when I go on a ghost hunt, I don't want to have more than 2 or 3 people with me. And in my experiences with ghost hunting, if you have more than that, it kind of gets to be too much. YouTube channel, it's awesome. He covers a wide variety of things. That's cool. That's cool. Um, but yeah, typically when I go ghost hunting, I don't want more than 2 or 3 people with me. I've gone out ghost hunting before, and this happened at Gettysburg one year when I was out ghost hunting at Spangler Springs. Uh, if you've ever heard of Spangler Springs at Gettysburg, it was part of the battlefield that saw some really heavy fighting. And there's a ghost that they call it the White Lady Ghost or something like that. She's in a white dress and she focuses around the spring. So everybody goes there to check out the spring there at Spangler Springs when honestly more paranormal activity happens outside around the spring in the fields where all the heavy fighting was. But anyway, sorry that I always talk about that because this annoys the hell out of me. I was out. It is surrounded by some cornfields and some wooded area out there at Spangler Springs, and I was out. I was probably about 300 or 400 yards away from the spring itself, out in this field, and I was like, "Oh, the energy's building up here. The atmosphere is really thick and heavy, and I was like, I'm just gonna stand here and wait because I feel this all building up." And all of a sudden, this group, I hate to say this, but it was like a group of hillbillies. And there's nothing wrong with being a hillbilly, by the way. I'm just saying it was like a group of hillbillies that really didn't know what they were doing. Came up in this truck. There was probably about 7 or 8 of them, and they like dismounted this truck and just started snapping pictures right away and were acting really rambunctious and loud, and it was just so annoying. And then I felt the energy go from, oh my God, I think something's going to build up to happen, to these people coming in and disturbing the atmosphere. And I felt all the energy dissipate and go away. And it changed instantly. It changed instantly. And I was like, I have to move to a different part of the battlefield to ghost hunt now because nothing's going to happen here because those people screwed up the atmosphere and the energy around it. It's just that one annoys the hell out of me. That's another reason why I typically only have 2 or 3 people with me when I go ghost hunting. But what state am I in? I am currently in the state of Illinois, but I'll be moving to Ohio here in about a week. I'm moving out to Ohio to be close to my mother. Um, Illinois has a lot of cool spots paranormally to go to. It's just I've got to move. That's just how it is, unfortunately. But what part of Indiana are you in? I've been through Indiana quite a bit, mostly through the Indianapolis area, but I actually have to drive through Indy to get to Ohio to get out to my mother, my muti, my muti, ich liebe dich, muti, ich liebe dich. Just north of Lafayette. I've heard of Lafayette. I don't think I've ever been through Lafayette. I don't know too many paranormal places in Indiana. I'm sure there's quite a bit, especially when especially like southern Indiana. I think probably has a lot of paranormal stuff due to like the pioneers and Lincoln stuff. I bet Indianapolis probably has a lot of paranormal stuff, but I've never ghost hunted in Indiana. I've never really stopped to do anything outside of get gas in Indiana, to be honest with you. Ever heard of Indiana Beach? There's a beach in Indiana. I thought it was mostly just cornfields. I know that this will probably sound bad, but I've always kind of looked at Indiana as just an extension of Illinois. You know, I kind of make a joke that Indiana kind of sucks off the tit of Chicago. But I've never heard of Indiana Beach. That's a new one for me. Outside of Indianapolis and a couple of spots in southern Indiana, I couldn't tell you what's in Indiana. I could tell you all kinds of places in Iowa, Illinois, Ohio, Wisconsin, some in Minnesota and Missouri, but never in Indiana. I live on the Potawatomi Trail of Death. Ooh, I bet you there's a lot of energies out there. Now, Potawatomi were fairly prevalent here in Illinois, especially northern Illinois. Now, I don't know anything about the Potawatomi Trail of Death, but I know I've read Black Hawk's autobiography, and he talks a lot about the Potawatomis and the Winnebagos and everything, and he fought alongside some of them. But the Potawatomi Trail of Death, I've never heard of that. I'd love to know more about that. I might have to write that down to look up. I'm going to write that down, to be honest with you, because I want to know more about the Potawatomi Trail of Death. Hold on here. I got some research to do. Let's see. Potawatomi. If I don't write this down now, I'll forget. Sorry. Potawatomi Trail of Death. Now, I don't know much about the Potawatomi tribe. I know more about the Sauk and Fox because that's the Sauk and Fox are very prevalent here in the Quad Cities. They had their village of Saukanook about 10 minutes away from me. Saukanook being at its height the biggest Native American village in North America. It had between 5 and 10,000 inhabitants. It was two tribes in one. The Fox tribe was more downtown Rock Island area, and then the Sauk part of Saukanook was more towards the Rock River side, where the Fox tribe was more on the Mississippi tribe, the Mississippi side. Trail of Death. I'm looking that one up to see more about that. That would be a fun place to go ghost hunting. I bet you we could pick up a lot of paranormal experiences there. There's a monument where some Potawatomi camped and a few died 1 mile from my house. Oh, that's cool. Have you ever gone out to ghost hunt there? Has your wife at all? I'm curious. So I bet you could pick up a lot of activity there. I bet you could pick up a ton of activity there. Now, I haven't gone out to Black Hawk State Park to do any spirit box sessions. I had planned to, but again, with me moving here in the next week, I don't know if I'll be able to do that now. The one area where the Sauk village was is all apartments now, so it'd be interesting to interview some of those people to see if they've had any paranormal experiences. Now, where the Fox part of the village was of Saukanook is all downtown Rock Island now. So that's how Native American history happened, unfortunately. Tried an EMF meter there a couple of times. That's about it. You should go out there with an EVP and a spirit box. You should go out there with an EVP recorder and a spirit box. I bet you could pick up a lot. EMF, I like the EMF reader. I was, again, skeptical about the EMF reader until this last spirit box session I did where I got some really intelligent EMF readings. I mean, I'm still kind of skeptical about the spirit box, but I've had some things come out of it where it makes me go, wow, there might be something to this. But yeah, I've got my EMF reader. I got this off of Amazon. It was about, I don't know, $20, I think. I can't remember. It's a rechargeable EMF reader, so I don't have to get batteries for it. I don't have to get batteries for it. It's got a plug there that I honestly, my phone charger fits this perfectly. So I charge this up with my phone charger. So I recommend anybody that's watching this, if you want to get an EMF reader, get one that's rechargeable so you don't have to constantly buy batteries. Like I said, I used my phone charger to charge this up. It's actually a lot of fun. It's actually a lot of fun to use. Again, I've picked up some actually intelligent EMF spikes where I've been like, "Hey, could you make this thing spike for me?" And it spikes. Like I said, the last Spirit Box session, you see a lot of intelligent spikes that you can go back. I made a bunch of clips out of those EMF spikes. So you can go back and watch those clips. They're about 15 seconds long. Again, an EMF reader is one of the most basic instruments that you can get to go ghost hunting with. It's fairly cheap, and just sitting there asking questions about, oh, does this happen? Make it spike and all that. Ever you tried dowsing rods? I have never tried dowsing rods. I know some people do. It's just not one of the paranormal tools that I use. Again, I'm so energy based when it comes to paranormal activity. I've The only time that I've actually used dowsing rods a couple of times, and it was when I was working out in a cemetery doing find a grave stuff. The sexton at the cemetery was like, "Hey, I want to show you something. I got a couple of dowsing rods here." And he's like, "The dowsing rods know when there's a female and a male buried here because it turns a certain way." And I was like, "Bullshit." And he's like, "Well, I'll show you." So he took these two dowsing rods in his hand and he walked by a couple of graves, and he's like, "When it's a woman, it'll turn left. If it's a man, it'll turn right." And I'll be goddamned if it happened. It worked. I was like, I've never seen that happen. So there might be something to dowsing rods. It's just not a paranormal equipment that I've ever used. Now, if I had people with me that liked dowsing rods or have used dowsing rods or wanted to use dowsing rods, I would say go for it. There's no hurt in using dowsing rods. It's just not something that, again, that I've ever really focused on using. I've always focused more on EMF, EVP, taking photos, and now recently my spirit box. Now again, here I can show you the spirit box that I have. I bought the spirit box for about 40 or 50 bucks on Amazon. This spirit box is 3-in-1. It detects EVPs. It's got a temperature gauge on it, so you can see if temperatures fluctuate. And then it's got the sweep rate where it scans through the different frequencies. Do I also investigate UFOs? No, I have never investigated UFOs. It's actually something that actually very fascinates me because I believe in aliens. I believe in UFOs. To be very honest with you, I wouldn't even know where to start to investigating UFOs. Now I know I've watched a couple of things like Heather Taddy from Paranormal State and Travel the Dead. She's really big into UFOs. She actually was on a show called, I think, UFO Highway or Alien Highway. It's on Amazon, and I started watching it, and I think I watched the first episode and went back to watching something else. But UFOs fascinate me. I've always been interested in UFOs, but investigate them? Never investigated them. Again, I wouldn't even know where to begin when it comes to investigating UFOs. Look up, laughing out, just kidding. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, looking up. I mean, there's been a few different UFO sightings here where I'm at in the Quad Cities, and what's really interesting is those UFO sightings have all been in a town called Silvis, about 15 minutes. Well, you guys don't know where I'm at, but I'm like 15 minutes that way. But there's been like two or three. It seems to be like a UFO hotspot over there in Silvis area. Uh, that if somebody ever asked me to go on a UFO investigation, I would be like, hell yeah, I'll go. That's fascinating. Again, I wouldn't know where to begin with that. I wouldn't know what instruments to use if you use equipment other than, like you said, look it up in the sky, um, and so on. I know there's been a lot of people, and what I have found interesting is all the different things that are on the paranormal that are under the paranormal umbrella, like UFOs, Bigfoot stuff, Yetis, and all that. Again, I don't personally believe in Bigfoots, but a lot of people in the paranormal industry do. So I've kind of, I don't know, I've opened my mind a little bit more to it. Um, I mean, I always ask people to open their minds about my paranormal stuff, so I've been trying to be more open minded when it comes to Bigfoots and Yetis and whatnot. But it's just uh, interesting, It's so many different things under the paranormal umbrella. Now, would I go on a Bigfoot hunt? To be very honest with you, even though I do not believe in Bigfoot, hell yeah, I would go on a Bigfoot hunt. I think it would be fascinating to go out in the woods and look for a big frickin' hairy beast. But um, it is what it is. My mom is fascinated by Bigfoot. Is she? Is she? I've known a couple of people that are fascinated with Bigfoot. Um, I like the lore. I like the lore, but I personally don't believe in Bigfoot. But I think I talked in one of my last live streams where, there are parts in this country, the U.S. is so vast that there are parts in this country where, humans really haven't investigated and whatnot. Sure, we've got radars that can overlook and pick up heat signatures and everything, but, as for like foot traffic or whatnot, there's places in this country most people probably haven't been outside of natives. That's what's so funny. Three-quarters of my family live in Germany. Most of my family on my dad's side's dead and passed away. So whenever I talk to my family in Germany, they do not understand how big the U.S. is. Because in Germany, you drive an hour and a half and you're in Belgium, at least where my family is. My family's in Duisburg and Cologne. They hop on a train and, in half an hour to an hour, they're in Belgium or France or the Netherlands. We're here, especially in the state of Illinois, you drive an hour and a half and you're still in Illinois. I tell them, if you're traveling through Texas, you can travel through Texas for 16 hours and still be in Texas. So it's hard for people like that to fathom. Uh, but I find the Bigfoot stuff, the lore stuff fascinating, the lore behind it, but I personally don't believe in Bigfoot. UFOs, though, I do 100% believe in UFOs. The universe is vast. There's got to be more life outside of just us. Now, could that life just be molecules or atoms or bugs or bacteria? Yeah, sure, but I think there's intelligent life outside of us. The universe is just too damn big for there not to be life outside of the human race. There's so much we do not understand about the universe too. We only know a little speck of it. We only know a little speck of the universe. So how can we be so close-minded and go there's not life outside of Earth? you know so There's not much intelligent life on. I would agree with that 100%. Common sense is, well, we've lost a lot of common sense. Hi there, Norrell. I cannot pronounce that, buddy, but thank you for laughing because that is pretty funny. There is no intelligent life. You want to know what's interesting, though, if you think about it, is, you know, intelligence on life is low. At least some people, common sense has gone out the window for a lot of people. But then you look at the feats that we've made. You know, I always say my great grandmother, for example, in her lifetime, my great grandmother's lifetime, or your great grandmother's lifetime, they went from horse and buggy to man on the moon in one lifetime. From horse and buggy to man on the moon. She was born in the 1880s and died in the early 90s. So she got to see travel from horse and buggy to humans traveling in space and landing on the moon. So we can sit here and say there's really not a whole lot of intelligent life here on Earth, which is funny because there's really not. But then you look at that in somebody's lifetime from horse and buggy to man on the moon. And then you go, wow, there must be some kind of intelligence to us. You know, when we first landed on the moon, a car today has more technology in it than that first spacecraft that landed on the moon. You know, 2 plus 2 equal potato, potato, potato. But, you know, in my lifetime, I'm 40, like I said. In my lifetime, we went from not having cell phones to everybody has a cell phone. You know, that's just not as interesting as horse and buggy to man on the moon. You know, we went from, you know, I remember buying our first computer at home, and it took, you know, half an hour for it to dial up and connect to the internet, and we were like, oh wow, holy shit, it's fast. And now looking back on that, they're like, it took half an hour to dial up and connect to the internet. What the hell? But potato, I need a potato. I haven't had a potato in a while. Some good potatoes. But, sorry. So yeah, I'm guessing Gen X, Gemini. Have you gone on UFO hunts? Then I'm curious. Does your wife investigate UFOs? You know what does that entail? I guess my question there is, what does an investigation into UFOs entail? What's taters? Get me some biscuits and taters. Taters. I like tater tots. Oh, so I went up to the gas station to get a soda, and there was no regular Coca Cola and there was no regular cherry cola. So I got this Coca Cola cherry float with zero sugar. It's actually not that bad. When you first drink it, it's like, oh wow, you can tell there's no sugar in it, but it's really not that bad. The cherry float's okay. Cherry float's okay. It's not my favorite. Anyway, sorry, I was getting a little parched. Ugh. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, what does a UFO investigation look like? Now, again, I'm sure I could probably go on Amazon and watch Alien Highway or whatever. She just does ghost hunting recreationally. I don't think she really has a clue. That's cool. I mean, as long as you have, I actually just watched a go live with Jason Hawes last night where somebody asked him, you know, what's the best tool to use on a ghost hunt, and he said common sense is the best piece of equipment and what not to use on a ghost hunt. So as long as she's using common sense on a ghost hunt, I mean, I guess you really don't have to have a clue outside of that. I mean, That's the cool thing about ghost hunting. You don't have to be the smartest person. You don't have to be the most tech savvy person. You can just go out there with a spirit box like I do, or an EMF reader, or an EVP, and just go out there and see what you catch. America goes on alien hunts every day. It's called yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is what it is. I'm not gonna get political, but that is what it is. Uh, I think I might have asked this already, Jen, but does does she record any of her ghost hunts or anything? Again, I'm just rebuilding my ghost hunting stuff. I've been married and divorced twice, and a lot of my ghost hunting equipment and a bunch of other stuff got lost in those divorces and whatnot. So I'm having to spend more money to get other ghost hunting equipment. So I don't have. I want to get like I need to get a thermal camera for one, and I want more than anything to get a Tesla coil. A Tesla coil helps build up energy in a room. And if you watch a lot of these paranormal shows, especially Travel the Dead with Katrina Weidman and Heather Taddy, they talk about how whenever they use a Tesla coil and whatnot, a lot of paranormal activity happens. So one of the things, I definitely want to get a Tesla coil for ghost hunts, and I definitely want to get a thermal imaging camera. And I've been looking and watching these shows with like the SLS cameras. I'm still kind of skeptical on those, but that wouldn't be bad. You can build a Tesla coil. I know I've actually gone on Amazon to look at those DIY kits, and again, when it comes to like being handy and handyman work and tech stuff, I'm an idiot and a dunce when it comes to all of that. That's why like my top priority isn't so much of buying equipment, it's getting a tech person that knows what the hell they're doing. If I had a tech person, I've talked about this in other streams. If I had a tech person, my videos would, my video quality would probably go up tenfold. Give me a second here. Sorry, I had to turn the light up on my phone. But yeah, I went on there and I checked out the DIY Tesla coils, and it's like, you have to smolder this together. And I'm like, I know what smoldering is. I've never done it, so I'd probably fuck it up. But nope, I think her and her friend can't shut up long enough to record anything. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, but it's always fun to go on ghost hunts with your friends. It's always fun to go on ghost hunts with your friends. That's how Heather Taddy and Katrina Weidman, they were both on the show Paranormal State with Ryan Buell and a couple of others, and that's where they became really good friends. And look where it's led them. It's led them making their own shows. You know, it's I'm very specific when it comes to my ghost hunts. Um, like I said, I tend to stick to two or three people, and to not be rambunctious, and to be open, and let the paranormal happen. You gotta be respectful. I don't like some of these people that go into ghost hunts that aren't respectful. Just rub a balloon on your hair. Poor man's Tesla. you know, you know, you know. I'm not. I'm surprised people haven't actually tried something like that. Oh, you know, you know, people try all kinds of different things on ghost hunts. Some of it's like Adam Kimmel. He likes to, at least on his YouTube channel, he likes to reenact stuff at his, because he owns the Madison Seminary in Ohio. He likes to reenact certain things to help paranormal activity uh, step up. That's one thing that I think is really cool, that I wish more groups did. At least, I mean, maybe more groups do that, but I'd make some vulgar jokes, but I don't know you well enough. Well, I say, as long as it's not going to hurt anybody, as long as it's not political, uh, or it's probably not nothing anything too sexual. It's probably uh, I don't get offended too too quickly or fastly. I try not to, at least. Uh, the one thing with me, I mean, part of the stream was about building trust and getting to know me. And I try to live and let live, to be very honest with you. Most of the time I just make fun of saying I make fun of myself all the time. But you know I always tell people, just be yourself around me. Just be yourself around me. That means you're a big nerd. That means you're a big nerd. We're all kind of big nerds in our own way. We all have little things. We all have stuff that we're nerd. I mean, I nerdgasm on history. I nerdgasm on the paranormal and everything. I used to be a Civil War reenactor, and I would hear some of the craziest things. There. I mean, because I'm naturally a liberal, and a lot of the things, my hobbies that I do are more conservative stuff, and some of the things I've heard people say. I mean, shoot, I was my second wife that I was married to was a Presbyterian minister, and I lived in this fishbowl. And I don't mind that fishbowl. It can suck a lot of times, but some of the things that you hear come out of people's mouths, especially when I was being married, when I was married to a Presbyterian minister, some of the stuff that she had to deal with and I had to hear, it was just like, I cannot believe people believe that. I can nerd out on lots of things. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Which makes me think of the Wi-Fi. What is the Wi-Files? I better write that down. I gotta look up the Wi-Files now. That's the second time you've mentioned that. Um, the Wi-Files. I have to look that up now. I have the next few days off, so I can look up some of this stuff. Wi-Files. And I never really truly embraced my nerdness or my weirdness until I read a book written by Felicia Day called Embrace Your Weird. And if you need to read a good book, especially something to help you open up and, realize that you are a nerd, is read Felicia Day's book, Embrace Your Weird. That book helped my life and my mind frame 1,000 times over. That book helped my life and my mind frame 1,000 times over. So if you need help embracing your weird, truly, read Felicia Day's book, Embrace Your Weird. It'll open your eyes to a lot of things. Again, I'm going to have to look up the Y-Files when this is over. I look forward to it. Um, the Y-Files. That's, again, one I've not heard of. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of the Y-Files. I need to start watching more UFO shows. I need to watch that Alien Highway with Heather Taddy and that dude that does it with her. I only started watching the UFO Alien Highway show because of Heather Taddy, because I kind of got the hots for her. But or at least her personality. I love her personality. But typically, like for me, and it might be like this for a lot of other people in the paranormal industry, but I typically, when I find a couple of paranormal investigators TV wise that I like, I'll typically follow them in whatever things they do. Like Katrina Weidman's been on 3 or 4 different shows. Heather Taddy's been on 3 or 4 different shows. I know Ryan Buell's talked about getting back into doing TV stuff. I would like to watch him.
Amy Bruni and Adam Barry are two others that I will always watch. Nick Groff and Tessa, which, by the way, Nick and Tessa Groff are going to be coming out with new paranormal content. They've got a documentary coming out called The Devil's Mark, and I just saw on YouTube about a week ago saying that they're going to have another paranormal show, and that they were looking for people to houses to investigate and everything. So I can't wait to watch that and see what comes out of that. I definitely embrace and enjoy my weirdness. Good for you. Good for you. I think more people need to do that. Nick is awesome. Love that. Oh, me too. I love Nick Groff. I love Nick Groff. What's funny is when Ghost Adventures first came out, I always thought Zach was kind of, well, I don't want to be an ass, but kind of a douche. But sorry, Zach. No, no, Zach seems like an okay person, but I watched Ghost Adventures more for Nick. I instantly like that had a connection with Nick Groff when I watched Ghost Adventures. Uh, and then once he left Ghost Adventures, it just wasn't the same. I mean, like I said, I like Zach's production stuff, but as a paranormal investigator, I preferred Nick. I like Zach's path and what he does and everything, but Nick was more of my favorite, and so I've gone on to watch Death Walker. Death Walker's really good. It's a great production, and then he's married to Tessa now, and they're a paranormal power couple, and they do an amazing job. They do a great production job. I would love to work with them and Ryan Buell. I've always liked Ryan Buell too. Paranormal State's my all-time favorite, even over Ghost Hunters with Jason Hawes. Paranormal State was my favorite and still is. What's really cool is, Ghost Hunters Taps with Jason Hawes and Grant Wilson and all that. It opened the door for everything paranormal. And I'll always like Ghost Hunters, and I'll always like Jason and whatnot. And Steve Gonzalez was another one I really like. I wish he made his own show. But Paranormal State's probably my favorite. I was about to jokingly suggest Zach. Yeah, Zach's Zach. I mean, when it comes to paranormal investigating, I prefer Nick. Nick got most of the activity. There was one time in particular that I believe Nick saw something because he about shit his pants. Yeah, yeah. That was the other thing about Nick, was he always experienced more. And what really made me connect with Nick was I can't remember what episode this was. I wish I could remember what episode it was, but he and Zach and Aaron were at some little town in Oklahoma or something like that. It was way out there, and they were on an investigation, and they had a medium come in and start talking, and it ended up that the medium was talking about Nick's grandmother who had just recently passed or something like that, and he started crying and everything, and I was like, brother, I feel you on that, you know. So that's when I really connected with Nick, because it was, I mean, I connected with him before that, but when I watched that episode, I was like, yeah, Nick's definitely my favorite. Oh, you remember that one? Yeah, good. I wish I could remember what episode that was. I can't even remember what season. I would have to go back and rewatch all of them. But yeah, I think Tessa is a sweetheart. I think they're definitely a paranormal power couple. They're a paranormal power couple, and I've talked about paranormal couples in other live streams, and what's really interesting is couples in the paranormal seem to do really well, minus the couple that did a murder suicide. But typically from what I've noticed, now it might be different with other people, but typically paranormal couples do really well. They kind of feed off of each other, and I kind of like that. I like the romantic side of it, I guess. Yeah, I wish I could remember what Ghost Adventures episode that was, because the lady was sitting there talking, saying these things, and Nick was like, "You're talking about my grandmother," and I was just like, "That's incredible." Remember that one couple they used to bring on, Debbie and her? Well, that was the couple that I can't remember who it was, but the husband shot her and then killed himself. What wasn't it? I can't remember what, but they were on numerous paranormal shows. But that's why it was so crazy when they did. Yeah, I think it was. I can't remember what her husband's name was, but it was a shocker in the paranormal community because they were like, we didn't ever see that coming, type of thing. Yeah, that. But outside of that, paranormal couples always seem to do really well, I think. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I read that Aaron Godwin's ex-wife or something like that tried to have him killed too. That one was another shocker. Why would you do that? I mean, why would you do that in general? But why would you do that when you're married to somebody that's on a national TV show and whatnot? It's kind of stupid if you think about it. I mean, it's stupid in general, but when you when you're living the gravy train like that, I mean, not a gravy train, but I hadn't heard. Oh yeah, it. He was. I can't remember if he was married to her or not. But look up Aaron Godwin. Wife tries to kill him, or she like hired somebody to try to kill him or something. There's like, if you can look it up on YouTube, they've got him in a courtroom with his ex-wife there or girlfriend or whoever it was, and I can't remember if she sat there and confessed to it or not, but she like seriously tried to hire somebody to kill him. I mean, it blows my mind. Blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind. I always liked Aaron too. Aaron is a lovable goofball. I can tell that about him. I'm sure he's an incredible lovable goofball. I met somebody that actually looked exactly like Aaron Godwin a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh my god. At the time, I was like, man, that guy looks familiar. That guy looks familiar. And then like a couple of months ago, I was like, you know who that guy looked like? He looked like Aaron Godwin because I was rewatching a couple of Ghost Adventure shows, and I was like, oh man, uh, doppelganger stuff. But doppelgangers, that brings up another kind of cool thing is I don't believe in doppelgangers, to be honest with you. I do not believe in doppelgangers. I think if a lot of that doppelganger stuff is just residual energy. That actually brings up a good topic. Because I was going to talk about this in another stream, and I honestly had forgotten about it. I do not believe in doppelgangers. I used to watch that show religiously. Same. Now I prefer shows like Travel the Dead or Paranormal State more than anything. But I like Nick's or not Nick's Zach's production stuff with the history behind it and all of that. But stone tape theory. I've heard of the stone tape theory. I don't know much about that. I'm gonna have to look that up. But back to the doppelganger thing. I do not believe in doppelgangers. I believe it's more residual energy because I've dealt with a lot of residual energy that I have not yet talked about in my streams or vlog. And sorry, I got to write that down. I need to look more up about the stone tape theory. But in my experience with paranormal and residual energy, now when we work, especially when we're working, we expel so much energy when we work or when we do things that it leaves an imprint. That's where residual energy comes from. And I've been at work before and I've seen people's energies and like them walking when they're not there. People can say that's a doppelganger, but that's just residual energy. That's just residual energy. So in my experience, when it comes to doppelgangers, it's just an imprint. It's just an energy imprint. It's just residual energy because we expel so much energy when we do things, when we work in our everyday lives, where that's until I experience something outside of it, that isn't residual energy, I would say there is no such thing as doppelgangers. Stone tape theory is basically residual energy. Yeah, I'm going to have to look that up. I've heard of stone tape theory. I think I've heard Grant Wilson talk about stone tape theory because I know he was really big into residual energy. And I've had a lot of experiences with residual energy, especially at places like Gettysburg. I had one of the coolest residual energy experiences at Gettysburg, and I talk a little bit about it in my Chickamauga, Herkenwald, and Gettysburg experience vlog video where I was walking through downtown Gettysburg and we were walking by this park. Man, I wish I could remember what park it was now. But I saw this park transform back to the 1900s. And I saw this energy imprint of this lady and her husband walking through this park, and she was in like a Victorian or early 1900s dress, and the guy was wearing a top hat, and I want to say they had an umbrella. This was years ago now. But residual energy can be a lot of fun. I talk a little bit more about it in my book, Living with the Paranormal, that I'm still currently writing. Uh, so that almost sounds like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Residual energy is like a time slip. It's seriously like a time warp. That's why, residual energy is so cool and so fascinating. I need to do more on it, to be very honest with you, because I'm kind of passionate about it. Because you can really look and see what the past was like through residual energy. So that's a topic I think I need to hit more on and do some more studying on. I would love to pick somebody's brain like Grant Wilson who does more on that stuff. Um, but yeah, that was one of the coolest residual energy things I've ever had happen to me. Outside of that one, a lot of the residual energy stuff that I've dealt with has been like everyday life. Like one time, back when I was working in a factory, I saw my one of my boss's legs walking from area to area. I saw it walking down this little walkway we had, and I was like, "Oh well, there's Raquel's legs. That's interesting." And I was like, "Well, that's just residual energy." That's like I said, we put out so many. We expel so much energy in life, in everyday life, whether we just go walking down the street or we're working or anything. That's in places like Gettysburg and other battlefields where they fought for days or whatnot, they expelled so much energy from firing their muskets, from marching up and down the battlefield, from firing cannons. So much energy gets expelled from battlefields. That's why battlefields are one of my favorite places to go, not just to ghost hunt, but just to go walk, because you can still feel a lot of those energies. And a lot of times at like battlefields and everything, you don't have to necessarily be an extreme sensitive to be able to feel that stuff, because there's just still so much energy built up and trapped in battlefields. That's, a lot of my paranormal experiences have happened at battlefields, both American Civil War and World War II. And I plan on doing more investigating and more stuff on battlefields in the future. That's why I'm such a big history nut. You will love the Y files, everything we've talked about. Oh, I can't wait to watch that then. The Y files. Like I've gotten that written down. I've gotten that written down. I need to do more on residual energy on my YouTube page. I just have not gotten to it yet because I've been so focused on getting out and doing spirit box sessions and capturing paranormal evidence, because that's what people want to see. People want to see the paranormal happen. So I really focused on that. But that's definitely, I don't know where I would take it. I would have to think more on that one and maybe do a vlog entry about residual energy. Residual energy is fascinating. It's interesting. There's not much. I know I haven't looked on YouTube, but like on Amazon or Netflix or Hulu, there's not much about just residual energy, and there needs to be. I believe there needs to be, because a lot of paranormal experiences that happen, a lot of it is just residual energy. Uh, so I'm going to have to go
I'm gonna have to look that up on YouTube. That's one thing I have not looked up on YouTube. There might be a lot of residual energy stuff on YouTube that might be fascinating, but there needs to be more. There needs to be more stuff on residual energy. There has to be tons of residual energy at my house because I don't have any. Yeah, you're always fatigued, are you? uh, I plan on making documentaries on some of my paranormal experiences, and that might be another documentary I look into making once I get the resources and the tech equipment and stuff like that. I plan on making documentaries about being healed by Saint Mother Ann Seton, my seeing Jesus experience, and my Herkenwald experience, and my two negative experiences at Savannah and being possessed. Those are all documentaries I plan on or want to make if I ever get the resources and the equipment to do it. But doing something on residual energy, that might be another one that I could look into doing once I have the resources and equipment and the know-how. I'm old, tired, and smell funny. You're old, tired, and smell funny? You're old, tired, and smell funny. Wow. That, I mean, you're still married though. I mean, your wife still likes you. Your wife still likes you, so you must not be too old or tired and smelly. If somebody still likes you, if you were old, tired, and smelly, I mean, wouldn't you think your wife would be like, "I'm divorcing your ass"? Yeah, that's residual energy. I'm gonna have to do something on residual energy. She's blinded. Oh, well, I mean, like they say, there's somebody on this planet for somebody for everyone. There's somebody on this planet for everybody. Just like there's a beer for everybody. you know. Um, but, sorry, I gotta readjust myself. It's about time for a smoke break. But but yeah, she's settled. That's all. Yeah, well, I guess settling's better than nothing. I guess. I've been single for a while now, but some of that's because I just don't want to settle because I've settled in the past and I was unhappy by just settling. Kitties, cute kitty cats, cute kitty cats. Sorry, mouth was getting a little parched. But yeah, got a couple of things to look up after the stream ends. The Potawatomi Trail of Death, the Y Files, and the Stone Tape Theory. I can't wait to look up that Stone Tape Theory on residual energy. I cannot wait to read more and research more on that. I'm going to have to make a residual energy vlog video or something. Is Y Files a documentary? That is a great question. You would have to ask Gen X Gemini that. I have not seen it. How old are you if you don't? I am 40 years old. I am 40 years old. I got a 21-year-old son. Sorry, a cat is meowing at me. I gotta let Miss Polly in. She's missing out on the fun. She normally says hi when I go live. Come on, Miss Polly. Come on, sweetie. Say hi. Say hi, Miss Polly. Meow, meow, meow. Sorry, guys. Miss Polly has to say hi every time I go live. I'm 40, or 40, you're still a puppy. Well, I've been around the block a few times, and I can tell you I'm no puppy. This ain't my first rodeo. It ain't my first go-around. I've seen a lot in my 40 years. Oh, yeah, Miss Polly's a sweetheart. She's a lover. She's a lover. Yeah, and what's funny, Jen, is I always say this because it's one of my favorite sayings is You know, it's not the age, it's the mileage, and I'm screwed both ways. One of my others is, you know, don't let this gray hair fool you. Now, I'm not completely gray, but I got some gray in there, and let me tell you, man, it's weird getting gray, let me tell you. He has to get in my videos too. Yeah, yeah. She always has to chime in and say hi and give her 2 cents. And that's fine. That's fine if she wants to give her 2 cents. Paulie wants to be YouTube famous. I'd just be happy to have hair. You know what I've had numerous people tell me bald is sexy. And some people wear their baldness quite well. Now, would I want to be bald? No. But bald is sexy. At least when it comes to somebody like Jason Hawes, probably. But, I've had numerous people tell me bald is sexy, and I was like, hey, man, if you wear it, wear it. You know what I mean? Uh, there's Miss Polly again. My head looks like Sloth from the good. Oh, Lord. Oh, that's a show I haven't watched in a while. I was watching a gamer woman by the name of the Anti-Tinkerbell. If you guys like gaming, watch the Anti-Tinkerbell. She's a sweetheart, has a great personality. She's from Ireland. She's an Irish redhead, sweet and cute. And she was talking about the Goonies. And she talked about how some people in her family had never watched the Goonies. And I was like, how could you not watch the Goonies? That's like a cult classic that everybody has to watch. People can really, people can, like Jason Hawes. Jason, I think wears his baldness the best, man. I think Jason Hawes rocks that baldness. He's got a cool goatee and everything. He wears it great. You know, some people look kind of like a weird alien, but like people like Jason, man, he wears it and he rocks it. You know, I got lucky. Now, my Muti's family, the men in her family all have what we call the Schroeder gene. My German family's last name is Schroeder. And the Schroeder gene in my family is people go bald in their 20s. Like my Uncle Carl Heinz, I love him to death. He's like a father figure to me. And he had, what the hell, Polly? Sorry, Polly just did something. But he had long hair down to his ass in the 70s and 80s. Like in Germany, when you get your driver's license, you keep one driver's license and you keep that photo. So most Germans have a driver's license from when they were 19. And if you look at my Uncle Karl Heinz driver's license, his pictures from when he was 19 and he had long hair down to his ass. And he lost it all by the time he was 25 and now he's completely bald. And my poor cousin Sebastian, he's a couple of years older than me. He started going bald in his 20s, and he's got that receding hairline, so he'll probably be bald in a couple of years. You know, I got lucky that I did not get my family Schroeder gene. Thank God for that. I got hair. Thank God for that. I got my grandfather's hair. On my dad's side. I got my grandfather's hair on my dad's side. He had really wavy, thick hair. My grandfather on my dad's side looked like James Dean when he was younger. So if I lost more weight, I would look a lot like my grandfather and whatnot. I had somebody tell me I looked like Robert Redford when I was younger, and I was like, well, that's not bad. I can go for that. But I've actually when I first moved back to Illinois. I'm originally from Illinois, and I moved out to Virginia when my second wife got a job out there. And then we got divorced, and I moved back to Illinois. I was at the heaviest I had ever been. I weighed 335 pounds when I moved back to Illinois, the heaviest I'd ever been, and I've lost 140 of it. And honestly, I could probably lose more, but everybody's like, oh, no, you're at a good weight. And I'm like, no, I want to lose about 20 more pounds at least. But I stress eat sometimes. And when I stress eat, you know, you can gain when you stress eat. But
Better than 350? 350? Yeah. Yeah. If I showed you guys my Illinois license, here, I could probably show you my Illinois license right now, honestly. You'll be like, holy shit. Hold on, I'm grabbing my license. Don't know if you guys will be able to see it clearly enough. Hold on, guys. So what's crazy is I showed this to people that I work with, and they're like, I cannot believe that, Matthew. You're like a whole different person. So this is me back when I first moved to Illinois. That's how big I was. I've lost that much weight. And I could still lose more weight. Like, I wanted to get back to the size I was when I was in high school, which was about 180. I think I'm around 200 right now. But yeah, big difference. That's where I was when I first moved back to Illinois. I was a bloated whale. Like I said, I lost 140 pounds. Being more active, being in a better positive mind frame has gone a long way for me. So, yeah. 140 pounds. And I still want to lose maybe 20 more. I'm about 6 foot. I'm probably about 6 foot. So, I was actually really sexy when I was younger. I'm trying to bring sexy back. And I've brought it back a little bit, I guess. Now I just need to get my damn teeth fixed. It's the other thing that bothers me is my damn teeth. But yeah. I'm like a mix of my Mootie and my grandfather. My grandfather, like I said, looked like James Dean. I'm 5'9" and 175 pounds. That's healthy. That's healthy. I mean, it's average. I used to be an athlete. Not a very good one, but I used to be an athlete. But yeah, I still looking at this picture today. Like I said, this was 4 years ago. This was 4 years ago. Much different now. 4 years ago. It's incredible what a better positive mind frame can do. It's truly incredible what a better positive mind frame can do. I am a testament to what a positive mind frame can do. Miss Polly's just sitting back there looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Miss Polly! She likes to curl up with me. Miss Polly takes care of me. But yeah, going on 2 hours, guys. Going on 2 hours. How old did you say you were, Gemini? How old did you say you were? Yeah, you're obviously older than I am. You're obviously older than I am. People can look. Jason Statham. I don't remember what Jason Statham looks like. I know there's been a lot of women that go crazy over him, but I guess I didn't realize he was bald. I just got back on day shift about 2 months ago. It's helped my mentality a lot. I bet. You're 52. Oh, you're only 12 years older than I am. That's not that much older. Some people think that's older, and it's like, no, that's just 10 years. That 10 years goes fast. Yeah, I've worked third shift. I work second shift now. I'm not a morning person. I am not a morning person. My father, when he would wake up, he'd wake up with bells on his toes, and I'm like, you're annoying as hell because I just don't do mornings. But yeah, some people that work nights when just they can't handle that night shift. It really affects people's mental state. especially if you're not used to it. Um, but yeah, sometimes when you go back from nights to working to days, you're like, oh wow, I'm a more happy, positive person, and it's like, yeah. I worked nights for years, so I know exactly all about that. I don't mind working like third shift and all that, really. Now, the industry that I work in, third shift is just babysitting a building. So I would get a lot of work done, like personal work done, you know. And you don't have to deal with a whole lot of people. You don't have to deal with busy day traffic or whatnot. It's just the world revolves around first shift, and that was the hardest thing I had to deal with was, you know, the world revolves around working days, but when you work nights, it's a whole new world. I've worked nights most of my life. It was great until recent years. Life changes, I guess. Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially if you have kids. Especially if you have kids. Because most of the kids stuff, like when they're in school and everything, it happens during the day when you sleep. So that's one of the other things that's hard for people that work nights. The best shift I ever worked was a split second third shift. I was more awake when I worked a split second third shift. That was years ago though. That was years ago, back when I still worked in a factory. I'll never go back to doing that again. Yeah. But yeah, I can't wait to check out that Y files. Thank you for bringing that up, by the way. Seriously, that and that stone tape theory. I can't wait to go watch that stuff. I'm gonna go watch that. Like I said, I've got the next few days off. That I'm gonna go watch that now. I work at a hotel. I'm a front desk agent at a hotel currently. I don't know if I'll be doing that when I move out to Ohio or not, but as of right now, I work at a front desk at a hotel. I've worked in the hotel industry about 2 years now. I worked at I've worked at three different hotels, a couple of really good ones, a real shitty one, and it's a lot of fun. You get to see a lot of walks of life, a lot of different people. I I like to bullshit with people. That's most of what my job is. I check them in and whatnot, and then I go and bullshit them and try to make them happy. And you meet a lot of interesting people. I've met a lot of people internationally that have come through the hotels from all over the world, um, and people that just like to travel, and it's a fun industry to work in if you like people. If you like people and can handle people's bullshit, it's a fun industry to work in. Professional bullshitter, basically. 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 What's crazy is I'm actually more introverted, but when it comes to work, I'm more extroverted. Uh, but after I punch out of that clock, I'm like, screw people. Screw people. I'd rather deal with dead people than alive people, to be very honest with you. Dead people don't scare me. Living people do. We actually, a couple weeks ago, my boss, two of my bosses and I went and did a small little mini ghost hunt in the hotel, and we picked up a couple of things. It's at the Rock Island Holiday. Yeah. Ew, people. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Once I punch out of work, man, I'm introvert and say screw you, people. Except for when I make my content. Except for when I make my content. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be going back to the hotel industry when I move out to Ohio, but um, I've looked at a couple of bed and breakfasts out there that I wish were hiring, but they're not, unfortunately. You can make fairly good money in the hotel industry if you're a people person. I make for my area, I live in a blue collar area. You know, it's reasonable living. I make $15 an hour plus some incentives. You could really make a lot of tips in the hotel industry. If you're a people person, you can make a shit ton of money off of tips. It's too peoply outside. Yeah, it's too peoply outside. I think I'm going to say screw you guys. Yeah. If I go back into the hotel industry, if you go, I wish I would have gotten in the hotel industry as a younger man because I would be probably a concierge or in the sales department somewhere. Uh, but you can make really good money if the hotels run properly. You can make really good money in the hotel industry. Too many old people outside, so scary. You know what? Old people don't really bother me. Old men in their dotage. Old men in their dotage bother the piss out of me. But for the most part, most of the old people actually that come into the hotel. Hey, Chowder, what's going on? Most of the old people that come into the hotel that I see are great, wonderful people that just love to talk. They just love to talk, and a lot of them are in just traveling, seeing family, or out wanting to do things, and I send them to places where they might like, so old people really don't bother me except for old men in their dotage and some really, really privileged people. Some people can get really, really snotty and privileged and they think they're entitled to everything. But outside of that, I really haven't had a whole lot of problems with old people. I love old people. Ever since I was a child, ever since I was a wee child, I always sought out old people and their wisdom. Always, always. And I'm glad I did that because it equipped me better for certain situations in later life. That's why I've even told Chowder Hamster this. You always seek out wisdom. You always seek out wisdom, and you always go to an older person that has life experience that you trust and just talk wisdom with them. You learn from it. So. Well, my friend, it's shower time for this old fart. Go have fun in a shower. I took one earlier today and it woke my ass up when I was still foggy brain. Go have fun in the shower, old fart. I used to call my grandfather that, old fart. How you doing, Chowder? I didn't even know you were on, buddy. I'm glad to see you on, Chowder. I was wondering if you'd make it. I tried to go on early today so you could make it, but uh, it was nice to meet you. I hope to see you online again. Thank you for subbing and thank you for talking with me. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. I hope to see you online again. I don't know when I'll go live again. I might be a couple. Well, let's see. I post my next Spirit Box session on Thursday, so it might be over the weekend. Uh, Maybe Friday or Saturday. I'll go live again. So hopefully I'll see you. Yeah, it was nice to meet you. It was really nice to meet you. Thank you for sharing about and thank you for bringing up a couple of the Y files and all that. I'm gonna go watch that, and I'll report back on my next go live about the Y files and the stone theory. Maybe that'll definitely be my next go live. Will be about those two things at least, and maybe that Potawatomi Trail of Death. Quite early for you, but it's already 8 p.m. for me playing on my PS4. Yeah, it was nice to join you live too, Norel. I hope to see you on again. Thanks, and I'll chime in more. I thank you for your lurk and everything. I'd love to see you talk more. Yeah, it was quite early for me. I've got the next few days off, Chowder, so I decided to go on early. Like I said a couple of lives ago, I said I would try to get on early so you could make it or whatnot, as well as some more people. But yeah, yeah. Have a good night, Norel. And it was nice seeing you on. Have you been playing anything specific, Chowder? Have you? Because I know, man, I last go live I was on, I talked about getting on live with Skyrim or something, and I've just been too busy doing stuff. I mean, I went live yesterday. at the cemetery doing a couple of quick spirit box sessions, and I've been working on other things. I move out to Ohio the weekend of the 25th, Chowder. I move out to Ohio on the weekend of the 25th. So I'll be taking maybe about a week off from going live or something. I was hoping to see maybe Dreams Be Dreams online too, but she left a comment on one of my video clips or something a few days ago, and she hasn't been on since, I think. But yeah, I started the stream out today, Chowder, talking about trust, and I gave a little bit of my background. Started out a little shaky. I was a little nervous, but give a little bit of my background and, talked about building trust and a couple of other things. Then I had Norel and Gen X Gemini come on here and start asking me questions. I'm moving closer to my Muti. I'm moving closer to my Muti to be close to family. The only thing that ever really keeps me here where I'm at in Illinois is my son. My son's 21. Um, so I'll be moving to my Muti in Ohio. I got family out there. I've got more family in Ohio than I do in Illinois now. My dad's dead. My uncle's dead. Um, I have a couple of aunts in Iowa, but they're 2 hours away, and you know, the only thing keeping me here is my son. So, what's cool? What's cool is I've already been doing a lot of digging on Ohio paranormal stuff, and there is a shit ton of Ohio paranormal stuff, and I can't wait. I've already scouted out a couple of sites that I'm going to go do spirit box sessions at. I've been playing Lego City Undercover. Like to see you play Skyrim. Yeah, I've been, like I said, I've been so busy doing my paranormal stuff, I haven't gotten on and played anything. I'd like to get back doing some city builders again too. Dawn of Man. There's Manor Dynasty. There's a couple of other city builders that I plan on playing again. They've got Ultimate General Civil War that I'm going to buy. That's one of my all-time favorite tactical games is Ultimate General Civil War. I cannot wait. That just came out on console. I've got like 600 or 700 hours in on that game on my PC, but they finally made it for console, so I cannot wait to buy that and play that. I'm probably going to buy Hold Fast and play some Hold Fast. But I need to get back on a little bit and do some more online streaming with gaming because I need to get my watch hours up. But I've been so paranormally focused that I've been more worried about my paranormal content because I'd rather be known for my paranormal content. Yeah, I like my wargaming. I like my wargaming, but I'm gonna probably start doing some more city builders again. Dawn of Man, uh, Manor Dynasty, uh, Medieval Kingdom, a couple of others in there. I might go back and uh, I think it's nice that you do more paranormal content over game. Thank you. I was actually surprised at how much support and everything I've gotten from my paranormal content. That's why I've dedicated more of my time to my paranormal content. I did not expect the support or the interest like I've gotten over my paranormal stuff. So there's actually quite a bit of paranormal content on YouTube, Chowder. I can name off three or four just off the top of my head for you. The Paraverse, Katrina Weidman Travel the Dead, Paranormal Guys. There's, hold on here. I could pull up some of the people that I have subscribed to. Avery After Dark. She's a good storyteller. I just subscribed to Faces of the Forgotten. That's a guy that goes around a cemetery that does biographies, which I plan to do myself. Do cemetery walks and do biographies from some of the people because I love doing that. There's, like I said, the Paraverse, Paranormal Alex, Resident Undead's another good one, Chowder. You might want to check out Resident Undead with Adam Kimmel and Rebecca Joe. I watched that show mostly for Adam Kimmel because I like Adam Kimmel. But some people might like Rebecca Joe. I'm kind of on Rebecca Joe. But Adam Kimmel does a good job. He's a good TV personality. He owns the Madison Seminary in Ohio. He also, I think he owns something in Lancaster, Ohio, paranormally. He's one of the bigger people in Ohio paranormal. And oh, that's the other thing. Like Ohio Paranormal, they have a website dedicated to Ohio Paranormal exploration, and they've got a map of all 88 counties in Ohio that gives all of the legends that they've been able to find and talk about. So you can go, like my Mootie lives in Perry County. You can look up and click on Perry County, and it gives all kinds of different paranormal stories and legends and folklore. There's a lot of stuff around the Columbus and Lancaster areas and everything. I'm actually really excited about it. I just need to get a job out there. But yeah, check out Resident Undead, Chowder. You might like Resident Undead with Adam Kimmel and Rebecca Joe. Tess said Nick Groff don't have a whole lot of YouTube stuff, but they've been mostly on big network stuff like Deathwalker and whatnot. Katrina Weidman, like I said, she's one of my favorites. But that's who I'm subscribed to right now. But there's a lot of paranormal content on YouTube. A lot of paranormal content on YouTube. That's just some of the people I watch. Speaking of which, Chris Williams is going to be doing a go live on the 19th. What's today? The 14th. She's doing a go live on the 19th. Now she doesn't really make paranormal content on her YouTube. Oh, sorry, Polly, I didn't mean to kick you. But she's doing like right now, she's doing a live drawing session, real talk and thank you giveaway. So Chris Williams will be going live on the 19th. If you guys liked Chris Williams or liked Ghost Hunters, she does go on YouTube every so often and talk about her art and things that she's doing in life. So check that out. She's going to be doing another live drawing. She's actually a very talented artist. A very talented artist. But yeah, there's a lot of paranormal. Sorry, I got a cat butt in my face. Got a cat butt in my face. Polly being Polly. Polly being a cat. But yeah. Yeah, there's always Jason Hawes that you can go on to. Jason does the Paraverse. Jason Hawes does the Paraverse. I've been watching a lot of Jason stuff lately. I've been watching a couple of his go lives and some of the play. The cool thing about Jason Hawes is he goes to some really cool places. He goes to some really cool places that others don't. Like, I mean, some of these might be well known in the paranormal communities, but some of these places that he goes to don't make it on make it on big network TV. Like I just watched one from the Aller House. The other cool thing about Jason's channel is he does tours of the places that he goes ghost hunting at before he actually does the ghost hunting. Like what I watched yesterday that came out was it's Step Inside the Aller House, where he does, like I said, just a tour of the Aller House before they actually do the paranormal investigation. It gives you kind of a feel of the place that they're at but before they start investigating. And I like how he does that. He tries to tie in a little bit of history and everything. But yeah, he created the Paraverse. The Paraverse has got some good stuff on there. But Jason's channel and the Paraverse are kind of like one and the same. I'm not quite sure where he's trying to take the Paraverse because it's just like his channel himself. So it'll be interesting to see where he takes the Paraverse. The Paraverse has only got 14,000 subscribers, where Jason's got
Jason's got 202,000 subscribers, so it'll be interesting to see where he takes the Paraverse, where he takes it. If he's just trying to make it an extension off of his own channel or not, I don't know. It's fascinating how people where people take the paranormal stuff. Why is your cat named Polly? I have no idea why she's named Polly. Polly was a feral cat that we took in, and yeah, that's a great question. I don't know why. She's just always been named Polly since I've been around. She's a lover, though. She's a lover. She likes to wake me up by licking my ears. Ohio isn't as boring as it seems. No, I mean I'm going to be living more out in the sticks. I'll be living about half an hour outside of Columbus, which is actually not bad considering a lot of paranormal stuff is in Columbus. I'll be living between Columbus and Zanesville, and Lancaster's only half an hour away. Lancaster is truly like a paranormal hub right now, and I'm really excited to get on the ground with the Lancaster stuff. But there's when it comes to paranormal stuff, and I haven't looked at everything, but Ohio, when it comes to the paranormal, is very organized, very well organized, and very well done. So I'm really excited about it. But yeah, I was actually looking at historic places to go visit in Ohio, and there's a couple, 2 or 3 places that I'll go visit. Shawnee, Ohio is known for Halloween. Shawnee, Ohio is known for Halloween. They got a lot of big Halloween stuff that goes on during the Halloween season for Shawnee, Ohio. It's a rundown place, but they're trying to build up their fall and Halloween season. Um, but yeah, I'm pissed because I have to move out there because I've worked my ass off here in Illinois. But I'm also excited because I'll get to have a closer relationship with my Muti, and the paranormal in Ohio is built up way better than it is here in Illinois, if you ask me. Illinois has a lot of potential when it comes to the paranormal. There's a lot of stuff in Chicago paranormally. The paranormal genre has grown leaps and bounds here in the Quad Cities where I'm from. They have a huge paranormal convention here, but it could be a lot better in my opinion. I don't know what's in areas in outside of Chicago, but I think Illinois could do a hell of a lot better when it comes to the paranormal. I mean, look at Ohio. Like I said, go check out Ohio's Paranormal Exploration Society. It's a wonderful frickin' website. If I could put that, maybe I can put that in my. That's what I'll do. Hold on a second, guys. I'm going to put the Ohio Exploration Society website on the chat here because it's an excellent website that if you're into the paranormal, you need to go check it out. It breaks down all 88 counties of Ohio and all of their different legends and hauntings. And it's absolutely fabulous here. I gotta find it. Hauntings and Ohio Exploration Society. Here it is. That's just the haunting section of it. Here we go. I'm gonna post their website. I use mostly the hauntings site of the Ohio Exploration Society website, but there's more to it than that. They've done a shit ton of investigating. It's absolutely incredible. And I'm going to post this here. So anybody that wants to check out the Ohio Exploration Society, please do so because it is worth it. They've got all of their evidence on there. They've got all of the legends and folklore from Ohio on this website, and they break it down by county and everything. They've got their shit together in Ohio when it comes to the paranormal. So what I just posted there is the ohioexploration.com. It's everything Ohio paranormal. There's other paranormal sites that you can check out with Ohio. There's quite a bit of paranormal groups there, but that group is legit. And if you love the paranormal and you love
looking at evidence and seeing evidence, they've got all of that on there. It's the best website that I've seen so far out of my digging and research for Ohio paranormal stuff. Go check that out, seriously. And there's, like I said, there's a map of all 88 counties, and you can click on each county you want, and it shows all of the hauntings and legends in Ohio. And I plan to use that list to do investigations and spirit box sessions of my own. So that's one thing I'm really excited about with Ohio. So I forgot that I could post post websites and stuff in there. But yeah, there's all kinds of places to go see and do in Ohio that I was like, oh well, hell, I didn't know that. My mooties lived in Ohio for my mootie. I talk a little bit about this at the beginning of my stream. My mootie immigrated from Germany to the States in the early '80s, and she's lived in Ohio since the early '90s, I think. So, all kinds of fascinating stuff. Yeah, they've got user submitted stories on this. They've got their paranormal evidence, photos, videos, and EVP investigation reports, and then it shows all the different kinds of legends and hauntings in Ohio. And there's a lot of Native American stuff in Ohio too that I look forward to. I actually filled out an application for a couple of places at the Indian Mounds in Ohio. There's a lot of Native American stuff in Ohio that I look forward to learning more about. But yeah, there you have it. So there is some upside to moving to Ohio. It's just I'm pissed because I've worked my ass off over the last 4 years here in Illinois to get shit on, basically. So I'm moving on to bigger and better things. You know, I've worked so hard to get to where I'm at, and then all I do is get shit on, and I'm tired of it. So I'm not going to elaborate more than that, but I'm tired of getting shit on and treated badly when I've worked my ass off. But anyway, what else? What else? I had a couple of other websites in here that I guess I could probably post. List of paranormal, blah, blah, blah. Mostly cemetery stuff that I plan to go to. Lancaster. I can't remember if there was just a straight Lancaster website. I know this looked... that's... But Lancaster, Ohio is a huge paranormal hub. A lot of that, I think, is due to Adam Kimmel, because Adam Kimmel's out of Ohio. He owns the Madison Seminary in Ohio. They've also got the Ohio State Reformatory, which is a huge place in the paranormal community. They have a huge, they call it the Parapsychon in May. If I get a chance to go to that, I'm going to. It just depends on money and where I'm at job-wise. But the Parapsychon in Ohio, it's only about an hour from where I'm going to be living, and it's one of the bigger paranormal conventions in the world. So I should maybe post that too. I don't know if I've got that website yet. I know I looked at it, but I haven't. But there's other places in Ohio, like Athens, Ohio, that's really haunted. That could probably be built up more for the paranormal industry. Athens, Ohio is a college town. That's where Ohio University is. There's the Ridges in Athens, Ohio. That's extremely haunted. I'm surprised we haven't seen the Ridges from Athens, Ohio on a paranormal show. If it's on a paranormal show, I haven't seen it. It's never been on like a major network. And I have not seen it on anybody else's paranormal YouTube stuff. So I bet that might be something once I get enough resources and equipment to do. But But yeah, I'll have to look up the Parapsychon and maybe post that too here. Let's look up the Parapsychon. Para. God, I can't spell for shit. Parapsychon. Give me a second here, guys. It's at the Ohio State Reformatory. Now, again, that the Ohio State Reformatory has been on a lot of different paranormal shows. So if that sounds familiar, it's because most of the major groups like Ghost Hunters, Paranormal State, Kindred Spirits, they've all done shows at the Ohio State Reformatory. So I'm going to go ahead and here's the Parapsychon. I'm going to go ahead and post this too for you guys to check out. That is the website for the Ohio State Reformatory and Parapsychon. So go check that out. It's one of the biggest paranormal conventions in the world. And honestly, the Parapsychon out of the Ohio State Reformatory should get far more recognition than it does, in my opinion. It's one of the best paranormal conventions, like I said, in the world. If it got more exposure, I bet people from all over the world would probably go to it. And maybe some do now, but in my opinion, it could be even bigger. So, anyway, check out those two websites, guys. Check out those two websites. So, what's cool is there's a place called Moonville in Ohio, where Moonville's been on a couple of different paranormal shows. I plan on doing at least a ghost box session at Moonville. There's been at least 30 people killed in Moonville because it was based on the railroad and everything. There's the Moonville Tunnel that I plan to go and do at least a spirit box session at. A lot of the paranormal stuff in Ohio is only going to be between an hour and an hour and a half away from where I'm going to live. There's the Haunted Woods in London, Ohio, off of the old Xena Road that I plan to do at least a spirit box session at. I plan to go there. There's all kinds of ghost towns around Ohio that you can go and explore and do paranormal things. Where I'm going to be living at in Ohio, I'm going to be 3 hours from Perryville Battlefield in Kentucky. That's a huge thing for me because then I could take a day trip down to Perryville Battlefield, do a whole bunch of paranormal stuff, and all kinds of stuff outside of the paranormal that I'll be able to post on my YouTube page. Perryville Battlefield was fought in, I think, 1862, and it was one of the hardest fought battles in the American Civil War. I'm only going to be like 6 hours from Gettysburg, not very far from Tennessee. So, I mean, there's stuff that I am extremely excited about for Ohio. I'm just kind of pissed off on, I've worked my ass off here for 4 years and, being treated the way I have been. Ohio does have the reputation of lowest education. I have heard that the colleges that are in Ohio are decent, but they do struggle in other areas. They struggle in the education area. They struggle in. I was looking this up. They've got one of the highest. What was it? It was the lowest crime solving rate, like per murders, I think was what it was. Just because, and it's not because of incompetency, it's because a lot of the small towns in Ohio lack the resources to be able to further investigate like cold cases and everything. I read that there's 2,500 unsolved murders in Ohio, and a lot of it is because these small communities that don't have the money, they don't have the resources to be able to further investigate cold cases or investigate as thorough as they want to. So it does lack in other areas. It does. But so anyway, all kinds of things coming up.
all kinds of things coming up. I've got at least 3 or 4 uh, spirit box sessions recorded already that I'll be able to post while I'm moving and transitioning to Ohio. We'll just see how long it takes. Like I said, I got to get a job, and that's my main priority is getting a job once I get out there. I've already filled out a bunch of applications, but not to mention the abundance of ghost towns. Cool to explore, but kind of sad. Yeah, cool to explore, definitely. From what I've been told, Ohio is actually kind of like Illinois in this sense, where everybody is moving out of the smaller towns and moving into the Columbus area. The county that my Moochie lives in is one of the poorest in the state, but it's growing leaps and bounds because people are moving out of Columbus to move into these bedroom communities. So she lives in the town of Glenford, which is about 150 people, but it's grown leaps and bounds because more and more people are moving out of the Columbus area and making these small little towns, at least outside of Columbus, bedroom communities. Oh man, I'm also trying to get a summer job, so nervous for my interview, don't know what to do. Just be yourself, Chowder. Just be yourself, buddy. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. I've been on both sides of the interview process. I've gone through interviews, obviously, and I've given, I've, you know, done. Sorry, my brain. Back when I was an operations supervisor, I would interview people for jobs and stuff. So I've been on both sides of it, Chowder, and I tell you, just be yourself, be honest. Be yourself and be honest. There's nothing to really be nervous about. When I was giving interviews to people, I always looked for honesty, flexibility, and open mindedness. So I've been on both sides of that one, my friend. I've been on both sides of that one. Let's see, I'm probably going to go about another half an hour here unless more people jump online and start talking. Well, no problem for me. I try my best to be all that. Yeah, that's really all I ever looked for when I was giving people interviews was, just do the best you can. Nothing to be nervous about. Sure, I mean, that's easier said than done, especially if it's a job that you really want, but there's really nothing to be nervous about. Just be open, flexible, and honest. Yeah, I'm probably going to be on here about another half an hour unless more people jump on and start talking. So. Da-da-da. Oh, another thing to talk about. A new season of Travel the Dead started. A new season of Travel the Dead started. And I bet the new episode's going to be coming out in the next day or two. It's it was overnight at the haunted New York hotel full of portals. It's called the Shanley Hotel, and they came out with the first part 6 days ago. So the second part to the Shanley Hotel should be coming out here in the next day or two, I think. So a new season of Travel the Dead with Katrina Weidman and Heather Taddy came out, and I'm super excited about seeing more. Man, I learn something new with you every day. You're the older person with wisdom, I know. Well, that's cool. That's cool. We all learn something every day. I take pride in that. Thank you, Chowder. That makes me happy. That makes me happy. It's all about learning experiences, or it should be. That's probably why I should go live more often, huh? So yeah, I can't wait for the second part of the Shanley Hotel with Heather and Katrina to come out. Like I said, that should be coming out in the next day or two. I was so excited because I like binge watch Travel the Dead all the time, and I was like, oh man, I hope another season comes out. I hope another season comes out, and I hadn't heard anything. And then they're like, oh, new season of Travel the Dead, and I was like, oh sweet. So I'm the older person with wisdom. I got some kind of wisdom. I'm full of useless knowledge, too. Full of a bunch of useless knowledge. Just turning that useless knowledge into something fun, I guess. It's nice to see you on again, Chowder. I need to go live again with gaming, but again, I've been so uh, fixated on my paranormal stuff and trying to make it better. I'm gonna be getting a new camcorder soon. I'm waiting for some gift cards to come in. I got $270 worth of gift cards through work because where I work, my hotel chain that I currently work for is an IHG brand hotel. And every time I get an enrollment into the IHG membership for people, I get points for that. And I built up so many points over the last few months that I got $275 worth of Amazon gift cards, and I'm waiting for those Amazon gift cards to come in so I can buy my new camcorder and an EVP recorder. So once I get those gift cards, I'll be ordering that and getting a new camcorder, and that should make my content 10 times better than it already is. I'm going to be making timestamps on my paranormal vlog videos for people. So that's something else I'm going to be working on again. Um, I've already got 3 or 4 spirit box sessions recorded that I can put out. I got a couple of more that I could do here. It just depends on the weather. Like I was gonna do the this go live at the cemetery again today, but it was supposed to storm really bad, but it ended up not really storming, at least not yet. um, but I plan on doing, hopefully, if I get time to now, a spirit box session out at the Potter's Field at Riverside Cemetery and a couple other places. But it just depends on how the weather cooperates over the next few days. Like I said, I move out to Ohio on the 24th, the weekend of the 25th. I was planning on going out there on the 24th. So. Good golly, Miss Polly. Yep. Try to think of what else. I haven't watched anything new paranormally except some stuff on Jason Hawes's YouTube page. I want to talk more about this guy that I subscribed to last night. His YouTube page is called Faces of the Forgotten, and this guy goes into cemeteries kind of like I do, and does cemetery walks, cemetery tours, and talks about people that he finds in these cemeteries. And I'm going to do something similar to what this guy's doing. Again, I've been more focused on my paranormal stuff, but I plan on doing cemetery stuff like this guy does too. I'll call it Dead and Gone biographies. I mean, I've already got it planned out. I just haven't done it because I've been so focused on my paranormal content. So Dead and Gone biographies is going to be something that I do in the future once I get a little more time. But this guy, like I said, is Faces of the Forgotten. The dude's got like 759,000 subscribers. This dude's really good. And I started watching his content last night and today, and he does actually a fairly decent production. He goes to all kinds of different cemeteries, and he actually does stuff outside of that that shows how people make gravestones, what goes into making gravestones. He does other cool stuff outside of that. He does a lot of Halloween stuff, Old West stuff on here. He's got a lot of Halloween stuff on here. And he does crime stuff too. He's got stuff on here about John Wayne Gacy. He's got coffin stuff, how coffins are made, and stuff about grave robbing. He does stuff about witches, warlocks, and vampires and graveyards. He's got DNA solved murders where they like exhume people to get DNA. All kinds of stuff on his YouTube page. Like I said, it's called Faces of the Forgotten, and I just started watching this guy's content. He's got something on here about Aleister Crowley. I mean, he's got some good content on here. And again, I plan to do something similar to what he's doing later on once I build up more of my paranormal stuff. I'm really focusing on getting that monetization with my paranormal stuff, and then I plan on having multiple YouTube pages. But he also, I think, I don't know who he does this with, but he also has a channel called the Paranormal Guys. Now, they haven't posted anything in a couple of years, but he's also got a paranormal page that he helps with. This guy's name is Ron. I don't know what Ron's last name is. Like I said, I just started watching his content last night and today. But he's also got a paranormal page called Paranormal Guys where they go around and do paranormal stuff. So that's another reason why I kind of started watching his stuff, is because he also does paranormal stuff. So the Paranormal Guys have 19,700 subscribers, but they, again, have not posted in about 3 years, so I wonder what's going on there. Anyway, the guy's got a couple of different paranormal channels, so go check out Faces of the Forgotten. It's a good production. He talks a lot about cemeteries and the people's biographies from cemeteries. Again, that's something that I've plan on getting into. I was actually doing that the first time I started my YouTube page, but got out of it and focused on work. But I plan on doing I'm going to call it Dead and Gone biographies, where I go through cemeteries and talk about people that I find. I did that a lot through Find a Grave. I've done a lot with Find a Grave. That's what I did a lot in my spare time, was look up obituaries and put people's obituaries on Find a Grave as well as photos. So that's something I plan on doing here in the future once I get my monetization at least. I also plan on doing some reading out of published books. I was doing that the first time I started my YouTube page. It was a pretty big hit, and then, like I said, I had to focus on work at the time. But I plan on reading out of published books again eventually. That will be another like YouTube page, and so on and so on. So that's what I've got planned outside of my paranormal stuff. That's what I've got planned outside of my paranormal stuff. Anyway, guys, check out Faces of the Forgotten. It's a really good production. The guy's a decent storyteller. One of his episodes I watched today was about a lady who killed her husband with an axe because the guy beat on her all the time. And he goes and shows you where she's buried at and everything, and goes into her whole story. So like I said, I just started watching this guy's content, and I like what I've seen so far. I like what I've seen so far. Outside of that, I have not watched very many new paranormal shows. I started watching The Manor. It's a horror movie. I started rewatching Kindred Spirits again. I hadn't rewatched that in a while. I'm a huge Amy Bruni fan. I like what she does with her Strange Escapes travel business. I plan on doing something similar to that once I get more money, is to start my own paranormal travel business, kind of like Strange Escapes that she does. Um, I've got all these goals and ambitions. Some of them might be a little lofty, but some of them might be able to come to fruition. But I'm a huge Amy Bruni and I'm a huge Adam Berry fan. I love Adam Berry. I wish I could be that man's brother. Um, he and his husband have been married for a while, but I haven't seen him do a show. Um, he hasn't posted on YouTube in about a year, unfortunately. He started putting a podcast on his YouTube, and he hasn't done one in about a year. But I'm a huge Adam Berry fan. I respect Adam Berry big time. I can't wait to see him put out more content. I need to go through some of his podcast and after show stuff. I haven't done that yet. But he's somebody I would love to work with. I respect him big time. I think he and Amy Bruni did a great job with Kindred Spirits. They did a great job with Kindred Spirits. Boy, not much else. I'm just super excited to see more Travel the Dead episodes come out. I just subscribed to Paranormal Alex. I have not really looked at any of her content yet. Um, yeah, I need to look more at her paranormal content. I know she's been on a couple of paranormal shows on TV, but I have not really looked at her stuff. I just subscribed to her. I just learned about her. So, so anyway, guys, I'm probably going to be about on another 15 minutes here. It's been about 3 hours, unless more people decide to get on and start asking me questions. If I get more people on to start asking questions, I'll stay on. But I'm probably going to be on about another 15 minutes. Again, I started this stream mostly to help build trust. Again, I 2 go lives ago, I had a psychic medium on there that I ended up looking up and not trusting the asshole. I caught on to him fishing for information, and then if you go on that man's YouTube page, his name was Michael from Daniel. He talks about being a biblical prophet reborn, and I ended up banning him because I don't want to deal with that nonsense. If I do not trust you, if I think you're a kook, especially when it comes to paranormal or psychic medium clairvoyant stuff, I will ban you because I will not subject my subscribers and followers to kooky people like that. I'm very critical of other clairvoyants and other psychics. And when somebody starts talking about being a biblical prophet reborn, they're a fucking kook. I'll be straight, open, and honest with you. That man's a fucking con man and a fucking kook. And I will not ever work with somebody like that. So that's why I banned him. Outside of that, I gave a little bit of a background about myself and my family to help build trust. You know, I talked about trust on yesterday's Go Live because of that kooky asshole. And then I got to thinking about it and I was like, you know what, you guys don't know much about my background. And that's what this stream was about giving you guys a little bit of background about me to help you build trust with me. You know, I'm a big person when it comes to trust. I want my subscribers to trust me. I want my subscribers to trust my judgment, especially paranormally, because I've seen a thing or two, and it's not my first rodeo. You know, I may not be what people consider a professional ghost hunter, like somebody like a Ryan Buell or a Katrina, but I've seen a thing or two. I've dealt with a thing or two, and I've been around the block a time or two. So, you know, today was about building that trust so you all trust me, so you all feel comfortable about asking questions, and feel comfortable about telling your own stories, about telling your own paranormal experiences. I talk about my community being judgment free and open minded, and again, I laid down the foundation for that, but I haven't followed up on it well enough. So I hope today's stream, at least in that regard, was successful. I feel like it was, but you can always do more. So I hope after today, you guys trust me a little bit more, trust my judgment, and feel more open about talking about your own experiences. Some of you have been following me since I started making gaming videos, and some of you have carried over into the paranormal stuff, and I appreciate that. I appreciate people like Chowder Hamster, Dreams Be Dreams. You guys have supported me over the last few months through all of this, and I love and appreciate you all for that. I can sit here and say thank you and how much I appreciate you, but it's not enough in my opinion. So I hope today's go live helped a little bit with that. I hoped that it would build a little more rapport with other people that are in and out on here to just trust my judgment. Some of you don't consider me a professional paranormal person, but I hope this helped, like I said, build a rapport. Especially when it comes to kooky assholes that think they're a biblical prophet reborn. I'm, again, I will never follow anybody like that. I will never subject my subscribers to anything like that, especially when they fish for information. Your wisdom is enough of a thank you for me. Oh, well, that's good, Hamster. That makes me feel good, man. I really appreciate hearing that because I try to put good in this world. I've done a lot of stupid shit in my life, like most people have. I've done a lot of negative things. I was more of a negative person up until a couple of years ago. And one of the things that I really tried to focus on was putting more positivity out there, helping more people, being more open-minded, working a little harder, and putting out wisdom that I have for people like you, Chowder, just like you. So thank you for telling me that. It means a lot to me. It really means a lot to me. We've all made mistakes in our life, and I'm trying to put back positivity to make up for some of my mistakes. I'm really big into that. I'm real big into karma. What goes around comes around. And I think I've accomplished a lot, or at least I'd like to think so. Maybe there's more I could do, but I think I've done quite a bit over the last couple of years with it. I've worked so hard. I've worked so hard to try to help people at least. So, again, maybe I'll do another building trust follow-up, and I'll talk more about my background a little bit, but I just hope this bridged that gap a little bit, because you can say and start talking about trust, but it's not until you start to build that trust or build more on it, for people to trust you. I may not be a Ryan Buell or a Katrina Weidman or a Heather Taddy, but I've seen a thing or two, and I've been through a thing or two, especially paranormally. And I'm one person on this planet that most people can trust. I'm the one person that you work with at work that you can trust. If you can't trust me, there's not a whole lot of others that you can. And I'm trying to portray that more, build that more, so you all see that and understand that you can trust me. That's why some people are really upset that I'm moving out to Ohio, especially the ones that I work with, because I'm the one person that they work with that they can go to and rely on and can trust. That's another reason why I'm so pissed off that I kind of have to move, is because, I built up that trust over the last couple of years, and now it's kind of going by the wayside, and that's what hurts. That's why I'm pissed about having to move, but it is what it is. I tried to avoid it. So I'm back. Let the shenanigans begin. Oh, well, that's good. I didn't think you were going to be back on. I was just talking about getting offline, but if you're back and wanting to talk more, I can stay on. Been on about 3 hours. I just kind of got on my soapbox a little bit about trust and everything, and I really hope this video helped build a little bit of trust. Plus, I need a smoke break. I need a smoke break. I'm trying to quit smoking. I was doing really good about it, and then I got stressed out at work and started not smoking like a chimney, but I smoke cigars. I'm trying to cut back on that again. Dangerously close to what time is it? I don't even know what time it is. Well, it's only 8 p.m. Man, you are an old fogey. You are an old fogey. I mean, the longer I'm on, the better it is for my watch hours. But almost. Oh, where are you at again, Gemini? I can't remember where you said you were at. Or you're in. Didn't you say you're in Indiana? I can't remember. Yeah, I mean, that would make sense because that's Eastern time zone. I know Chowder Hamster's 1 or 2 hours ahead of us. He's in Florida. 5 a.m. comes early. I don't remember if I asked you what you did in life, Jen. Yeah, I don't remember if I asked you that. What is it that you do in the real world? I know you said that you just went back to days. Yeah, I'm a Hoosier. What the hell is a Hoosier anyway? I know you probably hear that a lot, but I've never gotten a straight answer about what a Hoosier is. Yeah, so Chowder's you're a machinist. Oh, that's cool. What do you machine? Do you machine just like small parts or something like that? That's a good career field. I know people make a shit ton of money being a machinist here with John Deere and everything. That's cool. You're kind of an artist, really, if you think about it. Machinists are artists, really. Or you kind of have to have some kind of an art form to it. So, a machinist. Chowder's going to college for law. Hoosiers are just morons with a driver's license if you're lucky. I mean, I'm not going to debate you on that one. I'm not going to debate you on that one. Illinoisans are Illinoisans. we don't have any cool saying like that. Hold on a second. It's just like Ohio's Buckeyes, and then I was like, what the hell is a Buckeye? And then it's like some kind of a tree nut or something like that. I'm not quite sure still what a Buckeye is either, but I've been told the history of the name, but I've forgotten. Yeah, I know there's a history to it, but there's that movie Hoosiers with Gene Hackman. Always loved that one. You Hoosiers like your basketball. So common here in Florida, making me not want my driver's license. Oh, gotcha. Of course, you Hoosiers won the football championship, didn't you? Didn't Indiana football program win some kind of championship? Who would have thought an Indiana football program would have won some kind of big national championship? Not me. I'm absolutely hate sports. Yeah. I'm more of a baseball person. More of a baseball and soccer. I love soccer. It's what. Go Duisburg Zebras. Duisburg Zebras. My family is mostly from the Duisburg area, and their soccer team or football team, wherever you are in this world, is the Duisburg Zebras. Now their third Liga, which is the third tier in the Bundesliga, but they're still good. They're still good soccer. It's still good soccer. Now they've struggled over the last couple of seasons, but they're still fun to watch. So go Duisburg Zebras. MS Vow. MS Vow. Again, I am a nerd, but I'm embracing my nerd. Thank you, Felicia Day. My family have lived along the Rhine for hundreds of years.
I'm a proud Rhinelander. Rhinelander on the Rhine River. Duisburg is basically the Pittsburgh of Germany. Duisburg is basically the Pittsburgh of Germany. I got family that live in the Cologne and Aachen area, and Cologne's like the Chicago of Germany. I have nothing against people who like sports, just my bag. Laughing out loud, I'd rather work on cars or be in the woods. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of fun to that too. I used to be into dirt track racing. Well, I helped sponsor a car and run a race team. So I understand that. I'm not a mechanic. I couldn't do shit mechanically, but I could cut and sipe tires with the best of them. I could change out shocks and do a quick change gear change out, but outside of that, when it was like, oh, you need a 3/4 wrench to put on this nut and bolt thing to this thing and blah, 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 I'm like, okay, whatever. uh, I was better more on the business end of keeping a race team run. So there's nothing wrong with, working on your car and being in the woods. Being in the woods is fun. The hiking part's fun. There's haunted woods in Ohio that I plan to do a paranormal investigation at. So working on cars and being in the woods just as fun as sports, man. Just as fun as sports. The race teams that I helped run, we won points championships. I had a couple of the best drivers in the area. Just to have a good supply of 10 millimeter sockets. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Back when I was on the racing circuit here, the dirt track racing. Woo! Anyway, if it's not dirt in my beer, it's not racing. We started out in just normal street stocks, hobby stocks. I don't know what they maybe call it in Indiana, but they're called street stocks or hobby stocks here in the Quad City area. And then we went to open wheel cars, A mods and B mods. A modified cars on the dirt track circuit is my favorite. Hard to set up, but once you set them up, they drive themselves. I was really big into the US MTS, and my goal racing wise was to get my driver into the US MTS. We just didn't have the money. And then I moved up to late models and helped my friend with his late model, Gustav. Him and his dad were big engine builders and still are. He builds racing engines. He's one of the best engine specialists in the world. I mean, he sells his engines, both racing and non-racing engines, all over the world. Then his father died and they lost their engine shop, but he's got his own custom engine and motorcycle shop now that he runs. And I got to be really good friends with him and helped him racing. We went around all over the region racing. And then he went through some hard stuff in life and had to get out, but I know he's looking to get back in now. But quarter mile drag race. I'm not a drag racer. I'm a circle jerk. I'm a circle jerk to you drag racers. I've known a couple of drag racers in my life. I've known one, and I asked him, what it was about drag racing, because all you guys do is go in a straight line. And he was like, well, for me, being a drag racer, it was that initial burn where you get off the line and it's that initial adrenaline rush, and then it just kind of dies down after that. And I was like, well, I'd rather be a circle jerk that have to make cars, go around in a circle and turn better. They're making a left turn. Yeah. But I always said, racing, especially dirt track racing, is like life. You make one adjustment to the car and it's the wrong adjustment, you could go into the wall and burn. But you make the right adjustment in life, and you can make that car go around that track perfectly and make a good living out of it. That's something, maybe in the future that I'll get back in. Especially, I'd love to run my own race team eventually, but I'm so busy doing my paranormal and YouTube content that's not in the future, because all my resources and time are going to my YouTube page. But We were very competitive on the local level. Like I said, we won points championships and everything. I could probably build a race team today and be competitive at least regionally. I know how to build a race team. I know how to find the drivers and find the people that know how to work on them. But that's not going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately. I just want to put my 81 Trans Am back on the road. Yeah. Put that Trans Am back on the road. Yeah, that was most of that racing stuff was back in my early 20s and late 20s. Then I got into Civil War reenacting and was a Civil War reenactor for a while and paranormal stuff since, you know. Yep, it's a little bit of my background. I'm not going to be getting back into racing anytime soon. It's too much money. It's too much like a drug. But once you get that racing fever, it never quite leaves you. About 15,000 projects ahead of it, though. Yeah, I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one. I got this to do and this to do, and I want to do this, this, and that. And it's like, well, I've got 15,000 other things in front of that before I can get to it, which means I'll probably never get to it. Until I'm on my deathbed and I go, oh shit, I could probably do this, and then I croak. But it's about time for a smoke break. But yep, it is what it is. It is what it is. That was back in my younger days, 20 years ago. You want to be buried in your Trans Am? Why would you want to bury your Trans Am, though? I mean, I get that. I get that wanting to be buried in it, but why would you want to keep that Trans Am from the world? You know, that Trans Am needs to be shown around the world, in my opinion. Some cars just need to be shown to the world, in my opinion. Again, I'm not really a mechanic, though. I couldn't be like, oh, well, that's wrong with your alternator, and you need to change this and that, and blah, 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 blah. I can't even change my own damn oil, but when it comes to running a team, I can run them with the best. Mine, mine, mine. Yeah, I get that. I get that. I guess my whole thing would be like, I want to show that car to the world. I watched that Barrett Jackson stuff for a while. Uh, but yeah, that's a couple of hobbies I've done in the past was racing. I was really big into racing. Really, really big on dirt track racing. Huge, huge in the racing circle. I was starting to build a little bit of a reputation. I mean, like I said, I didn't know mechanic shit, but do you watch Danny Coker? I've heard of Danny Coker, but never watched him. When I was into that stuff, I mostly got into sprint cars and watching sprint cars and stuff too. Back when I was in doing my dirt track stuff, I mean Stevie King was the biggest sprint car driver and all that. So I've heard of Danny Coker though. That name sounds familiar. Um, but yeah, that's a couple of hobbies I've done in my past. Is obviously the racing and Civil War reenacting. I was really big into Civil War reenacting. I've talked a little bit about my Civil War reenacting. Um, Doing genealogy and find a grave stuff, uh, and so on and so on, outside of my paranormal stuff. I might sell some internal organs and have him do my TA. Yeah. Danny Coker. Yeah, that name sounds familiar. I can't think of where I know that from, but yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know my liver is a badass. Yeah, my liver. I've woken up with my liver next to me screaming, "Don't ever drink again." That's why I don't drink as much anymore. I still drink every now and then to let my hair down, but not like I used to in my 20s. Holy shit. I drank too much when I was younger. I drank way too much when I was younger. But I've learned to be like, oh, I'm good after two. Danny Coker is Counts Customs. I was going to say that sounded familiar. I used to watch a couple of shows that were big into like building engines and everything. Hey, Miss Polly. Miss Polly wants to say hi again, guys. Say hi, Miss Polly. Yeah. Miss Polly just wanted to say hi. Miss Polly wants to be YouTube famous just like the rest of us. Now she's going to show me her butt again. What are you doing? I think she wants the window open. I think she wants the window open. I guess I could probably open it for her. It's not raining like it was supposed to. But how about Gas Monkey? Again, I've heard the name. I'm not a mechanic. I could run a race team with the best of them, but when it comes to the mechanic stuff or custom stuff or whatnot, I can't tell you shit outside of that. Again, it sounds familiar, but I wouldn't know who it is. You know, when somebody talks about their 424 or their 352 or whatever, I'm like, oh yeah, that's an engine. You know, then they get into some of the technical stuff, and I kind of get glossy eyed and go, yeah, I've heard of that. I don't know what the hell it is though. How about caca poo poo? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was real big into watching NASCAR for a while there. I think NASCAR's gotten lame now. I hate the stupid whatever racing that they do where they race for about 50 laps and then do a pit and then they have to restart like like the race is restarting. The stage racing, that's what it's called. That stage racing is stupid. That stage racing is absolutely fucking stupid and they need to get rid of it. Why, in my mind, would you stop a race while you're in the middle of it to stage race? It's absolutely stupid. It's not like it used to be. That's why I've gotten more into like Formula One and dirt track racing because that stupid stage racing is going to kill NASCAR. Seriously, stage racing is going to kill NASCAR completely. And you can see that NASCAR has lost hundreds of thousands of fans because of that stupid shit. They did not have to change and go to some stupid stage racing. They should have just kept the same kind of racing format, just gotten into other raceways. People love the small tracks, like what they did with Bristol. They took Bristol and made it a dirt track race for NASCAR. That's fun to watch. Don't stop the race, you know, a quarter of the way in or half of the way in, or two or three different times like that. It's stupid. You don't fucking stop a race. You let people race to the finish. You know, it's absolutely stupid in my opinion. Absolutely stupid in my opinion. You know, maybe, you know, I like the endurance and the longevity of racing, like the Le Mans 24-hour stuff. I love that kind of stuff because that's racing. That's racing. Not some stupid stage racing stuff. That stage racing is seriously gonna kill NASCAR in my opinion. And it has for the most part. Look at how many people don't watch NASCAR anymore. I got that from Family Guy. I love that show. I haven't watched that show in a while. I haven't watched that show in quite a while, actually. Yeah. Yes, sir. I should really think about getting offline here. I mean, I know you're on talking with me, but I've been on 3 hours and 13 minutes. And I wish there was more people, but I think I've accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish today. So I think I'm just going to call it a night, guys. Like I said, it's been 3 hours and 13 minutes. And uh, like I said, today's stream was about building trust. And I think I've accomplished that a little bit at least. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks again. It's all good. I should take my ass to bed. Yeah, I was going to say, you're an old fogey now and saying that you're tired and have to go to bed. I forget you're an hour ahead of me. So anyway, thanks for chiming in, Gen X Gemini. I hope I see you online again. Again, I probably won't go live again until maybe Friday. I post another Spirit Box session on Thursday, so I'll probably go live again on Friday. So again, thank you guys. Keep hitting that subscribe button. I've got 1,085 subscribers. Working on my watch hours. Keep hitting that subscribe button. Leave more comments. Please leave more comments. I like spending time and working on responses to comments and everything. It makes content better, helps make more content. I mean, it helps algorithms. Anyway, guys, thank you all again. Take care, bud. I hope to see you online again. It was great talking to you. My next go live, I'm seriously, over the next couple of days, I'm going to look up the Potawatomi Trail of Death, the Y-Files, and the Stone Tape Theory. And my next go live, I'm going to report back on it and what I've learned and my opinions on it. So I hope you come back online for that on Friday, because I'm going to make my next stream about those 3 things. So again, everybody, thank you so much for your love and support. Keep hitting that subscribe button. Leave comments. If you want to get a hold of me, you can leave a comment in my community, and so on and so on. You all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you on Friday.